Test, test, test. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, well, let's get right to it. What's going on, guys? Good evening, good evening. Sorry about the late start there. What? Fake engagement? What? I just got reported. What for fake engagement? It's the starting stream screen. Calm down, you trolls. My God. I just got reported for fake engagement. That was fun. Okay. Sure. It's always fun. It's always fun indeed. Sorry, I'm just trying to also make sure the mobile view isn't too terrible for everyone online. So I'm just going to bring things down. So part of me says I need to bring the images behind the chat cover. So that way everyone can kind of see it a little bit better. The chat cover. There you go. So you can see a little better than that. All right, I think we're good there. All right. Sorry about the delay there, guys. What's going on? We have, who do you got? Manny, Ruby, Danny, Bevinox, Draxite. What's going on, guys? Thank you for being the early birds in here. Who else we got joining in? Let's go. I don't know. I hated how I go through the entire day. My Kangaroo store doesn't bother me, but right as I get to the streaming in the evening, that's when it pops up. Advisor Shay, what is going on, guys? Every day I'll be adding some new things to the website, making updates and adding new items here and there as I can. Added a handful of things today. And so if you're interested, you can check things out. The giveaway stuff, I started adding some new things. It's going to take me another day or two. Every day I'm doing a delicate balance of everything. And so unfortunately work gets set aside to the evening here. Pokemon has literally taken over my life for a little bit here. It's been a wonderful, wonderful side project, but it's been taking up so many hours, but we're steadily building up our inventory like crazy. So I just finalized a trade today that was potentially worth a little over $1,500 to $2,000, depending on how things go. So we'll see how I move those products and stuff. But some of the highlights, the biggest ones for me is I was able to grab this Team Aqua Kyogre card. Unfortunately, it is in damaged condition, which is highly unfortunate because if it wasn't for the dimples all over the front of the card, I would have been able to get, probably worth like $200. But the other ones here that I'm really proud of grabbing as well too. Unfortunately, they're in rough shape. At the same time, though, other people are being generous with the grading, so I might redo these. Well, the conditioning and stuff. It'll just buff out, yeah. No, what sucks is like this in a brand new condition, which is hard to get because of what I'm realizing is the reason why that the XY generation, right, from the early teens to the late, early 2018s and stuff, the XY generation. A lot of kids got into that genre. The collecting market was still there, but most of the product went to kids because they printed a lot. They just weren't moving. Like Walmarts and Targets were overflowing with boxes and all this stuff. And a lot of kids ended up buying the cards and they played with them, they traded with them, and so forth. Meaning, yes, there's a lot of these cards in the market, but they got utterly destroyed because they were playing with them. Hence why, just like the vintage stuff, when it comes to vintage, like the original 1999 release of the card game, all of that is only worth something if it's in decent to really good condition, because the people who are buying those cards aren't playing, they're collecting, and they don't want to collect the damaged cards. So that's been fun. So this has been like the last month, it's been, well, the first 4 months really, but this past month I've been like thrown into the fire of the Pokemon markets and everything, and trying to gauge the market and see where things are going. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today was, if you guys haven't already noticed, especially for those of you on TikTok, oh, I didn't realize the music stopped playing. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry. Yeah. If you guys didn't already know, the ripple effects from the tariffs are about to hit. The reason why businesses like myself were freaking out a month, 2 months, 3 months ago about him announcing these stupid tariffs is because if you knew how they worked and what it meant for everything down the line. No, it's not an immediate impact. It's immediate impact in terms of people start spending scared and so forth, and our prices begin to go up in terms of ordering product and stuff. But the biggest problem is starting to come now, where, if you guys remember, during COVID, ports were empty, shipments, like freight, pretty much came to a halt. Our economy, that it pretty much came to a halt. And with the docks being now empty, aka ships aren't coming because companies aren't importing. China is not sending out the ships, and companies aren't importing the product that's going to cost them an arm and a freaking leg to import because there's no need. Like essential items will most likely come, but things like toys, board games, Kickstarter games, like clothing, like there's things that, if you're smart, you're not going to like load up on, because, fast forward to the situation that's going to happen right now. This is not a political statement. This is unfortunately the reality of what's about to happen. And it's not fear mongering, because unfortunately, again, this is the reality of the situation that we've been put in. When the supply chain gets disrupted and we can't restock right now, the last few months, you have seen companies liquidate everything. They have been going to the point of either they are sticking to the prices, they are liquidating, they are being scarce with the product so they can kind of divvy it out. But unfortunately, the writing's on the wall. You're only going to be able to sell for so long before you run out of product, before you're going to either have to increase your prices or be unable to restock because you're no longer able to afford the new prices that that have gone up. It'd be nice to say, well, you can just raise your prices and everyone will chip in. Everyone needs to suffer a little bit. It's going to be an adjustment period. Everyone needs to go through it, but we'll be okay afterwards. That's great, but that's not going to translate to people are going to continue their daily purchase habits because they're willing to chip in. That's not going to happen because people are going to have less to spend on basic necessities, which means they're going to have less to spend on discretionary things like entertainment and retail and so forth. People's wages aren't going to magically increase right now so they can pay these new increased prices. As well as, you keep hearing these empty shelves type things. Well, yeah, because as people purchase items, and if those items are no longer available for restocking like they normally could, or if it's bare minimums, you're going to see empty shelves, which induces a multitude of reactions from consumers. One, panic buying, because the masses are. I think the quote in the Men in Black movie was actually pretty accurate to this point, where a person is smart, people are panicky, dumb. It's that mob mentality. They're not thinking. A person can deduce what's going on and be logical about it, but when you put it to the masses, they become acting stupid. And so, unfortunately, panic buying will ensue. People are going to see the empty shelves and immediately be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I better buy whatever I can. Look at the cause. And even if all of the tariffs are magically lifted tomorrow, it's going to take a few months for things to start to begin to recover. Not recover. Nothing like this is an overnight success. Nothing like this is an overnight repair. And so even if you flipped it tomorrow, we're going to go through about a 2 to 3 month adjustment period. Imagine, think about this. You're like, well, how could that be? Let me give a metaphor that works for everyone. Traffic jams are literally caused by, number one, congestion, but most of the time it is just one person either driving extremely slow or they brake check someone, and that one brake check causes like break, and then now you have a backed up line for 40 minutes to an hour. It's not as, because the thing is, right now, UPS are laying off workers. You have companies, freight companies, warehouse companies, manufacturers, retailers, all beginning to lay off people because, number one, the writing's on the wall. There is nothing to sell next month, aka there's no revenue coming in to pay my employees if I don't have anything to sell. So they're just preemptively cutting their costs. Shipping companies already doing it because there's going to be significantly less packages going around if you have less items to sell. Boba will still be flowing, but with the significant reduction of goods, it's going to begin with the dock workers, the warehouse workers, the truckers, the logistics people, and then it's going to hit the retail businesses. It's going to hit the small businesses who can't restock. Prices are going to go up. If you guys learned anything from COVID, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, if you learned anything from COVID, it's that any excuse that the company can have to legitimately raise the prices, they will, and they will keep them there. They will keep them there. They will keep them there. Sorry, I'm just trying to put this up here. Sorry, I'm trying to readjust my windows here. Okay. So, Yachty, what's going on? Yeah, so I mean, it's unfortunate. Like, there are businesses who out there who have been woefully ignorant about what's been going on. I see it now. Like, again, not to get political, but then when you're a small business that looked at the tariffs a few months ago and were like, yeah, and now you are complaining about what's happening because you're like, oh my gosh, my business is destroyed. What am I going to do? You're going to get no sympathy. It's just like telling like a kid, listen, if you touch that, you're gonna get hurt. No, I won't. It only affects the other kids, not me. You're like, I warned you. And they proceed to touch it and get hurt anyway. Like, I'm gonna feel bad that you're hurting, but other than that, you're not gonna get more sympathy from me. Like the businesses that kind of like brushed it off, that didn't do any preparation, didn't prepare, didn't begin pivoting, and they want to start crying about it now, it's too late. this is the problem with a lot of small businesses and industries, and let's just say people as well too. The short-sightedness that you have regarding everything. I already started to pivot my business since the last 2 years. The thing that's been holding me back on really executing on that plan has been my debt that I've been working on paying off. And thank God, I'm in the last month or two of the last big one. And then from there, I can kind of breathe. And thankfully, I got that breathing room because our sales are about to go down. Just naturally speaking, like they are. If I'm sitting here and I'm like boldly predicting that we're not gonna be affected, I'm a moron. You're a moron. Again, if you're in a non-essential business like food, groceries, everything from utilities and so forth, things that require for people to live, prices are going to go up on all of that stuff. You can be like, well, how does it? Like, if I don't have time to sit here and give you economics 101, but everything is connected. Everything from, everything from the flow of goods and services, the flow of energy, crude oil. You'd be like, well, what does a truck driver losing his job got to do with me? It's got everything to do with you. Everything it's a delicate balance of interconnected B2B businesses. Everything is connected. If there's less truck drivers, that means there's less goods going to the warehouses, less things being transported across the warehouses and the stores and the businesses, which means less items in those very businesses that you either shop from or rely on for either your livelihood or for your business and so forth. So that means if they lose a job, now second company loses more jobs and revenue because they're not getting much, and then the small businesses are also getting very little. Yo, let's go! Thank you for the raid. Let's go. Thank you very much for the raid, man. Welcome. I'm just talking about a very hard topic today, which is it's about to get really bad for small businesses and in general for everyone. And mainly, like, I'm hoping to reach out to any other small business to give them any type of advice that I can right now. Just, right now, it's almost too late to do a major change, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't, right? But Twine Games, I hope it's been a while. It really has. I hope you've been well. I hope you had a good stream. What were you playing? Were you just chatting? Were you building something? Or are you just kind of just here? I also haven't been on, so I just came back last week, but I've been on very kind of minimally the last few days because I'm still settling into the chaotic life that it is my life right now. My daughter's a blessing, don't get me wrong. Ooh, art and then repo. Okay. Well, I hope you had a good stream. Oh my goodness. Well, it's been a hot minute since we spoke, so if you didn't see already, my wife gave birth to our daughter a little bit early, so she was born a little bit premature, but thankfully both baby and mommy are all healthy. They're home. We did end up naming our daughter Aerith after the Final Fantasy VII character. So if you didn't already know that, she is named after Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. What's it called here? The last few weeks, investments are still open. We had to take down the website for a good month because Shopify was giving us nothing but problems, forced me to delete over 2,000 items. So there was nothing on the website until now, where I've been allowed to start putting the items back in. I've been rebuilding the site here and there, just restructuring things and putting things up one at a time. So if you check back in on a daily basis, there's going to be always something new popping up. Okami, thank you very much for saying so. Since you raided, though, everyone in the stream and all the raiders that stuck through the raid, you guys get a free entry into our spring giveaway. of which, if you're looking back there, you see that Lego Venator class attack cruiser. $650 from Lego. It's probably going to be like $900 after tariffs, or even more. That is our current top prize. There's many prizes. I still have like 20 I got to add manually. I just redid the giveaway section. There's a lot of prizes that can be won, but that's the top one. Like, so if you're the first person picked, you can go ahead and pick that one. But there might be, depending on how we do next month, I may decide to add one of several things. Like one being either the Collector's Commander set for Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy Magic release. That's going to be big. I could also decide to put in like a Destined Rivals bundle set where it's like the booster bundle, ETB, booster box, like my own little Team Rocket like case as a winner, or something. I'm thinking about something big on top of like a lot of mid and low end stuff. Actually, if you got to add, I just got to check one thing really quick here. Oh, that's something. Oh. Oh, sorry. Are you guys back from the ads yet? From the ad break? Are you guys back from the ad break? Oh, I can actually make that a little bit bigger. Wow. Appeal. That's why freaking Twitch is failing. TikTok is failing. I got successfully reported on TikTok for being a bot. Oh my gosh, that's so dumb. I was like, why is TikTok like stuck at like 1 or 0? I'm like, oh, I literally got successfully in that regard. Let me change up the music too a little bit here. Where's my... You know what, this is relaxing enough. We'll keep it in the background. Oh, Kumanaro, thank you very much. I am a Marvel fan. Thank you for asking. No, that's really awesome. Thank you very much for that. I also just realized I need to... Sorry guys, just give me a second. I'm also like live editing the website as I speak right now. I'll probably, by the way, I'll go over what I just said again about, you know, the tariffs and why, you know, things are about to get bad right now. But also what you can do about it. It's still not too late. It is still not too late. To do something about it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to... Why can't I redo product grid? Interesting. It won't let me do that. Huh. Okay. Bet. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I'll deal with that later. I work as a tire tech. Our shop had to go up our tire price and stuff because most of them are... Yeah, no, it's not just... everything's going up. Like, we've already had to, on certain supplies, the increases range from 15% to 230%. Like, that is the range of what our prices had to go up on, because in order for me to restock. So the thing is, why, like, you know, a lot of people are asking, like, wait, if the first wave of the new tariff items are hitting the ports right now, why are people preemptively raising the prices? It's because if you don't understand business, when you sell an item, there is a thing called cost of goods sold. And typically what you do is you take the net profits of the item. So you bought this bottle for 10 bucks, right? Now, let's say you bought it for 6 and you sold it for 10. You take the $4 and you put it into the business operations, whether it's rent, utilities, and employees. And then you take the $6 to restock the item so you can sell again. That is basic business. That is not scalping. That is business. That is retail. It's shocking to me how much people don't understand that. But right now, if I were to sell, if I want to go restock this item, it costs me $18 to restock based off the 200% bullshit. Now, it ranges anywhere between 10 to 200 plus percentages based on what you have. But let's just say, like this, most of our crap is made in China, guys. So 200%. So this is now going to cost me $18 to restock. I can't just sell the one I have currently for $10 because now it's all established. Now it's fixed. Now it's like if you weren't a business that wasn't, that didn't have the luxury of preemptively ordering. Thank you for the follow. Other smallest services, Altatica farmers are. Oh yeah, no, it is across the board. This is not political anymore, folks. At this point, I'm done with the finger pointing and getting angry. People need to get educated now. This is the whole. It's not the whole F around and find out. This is unfortunately how the majority of our country learns. You have to go through it. We have to teach everyone like children again. How do you know a thing is hot? By touching it and getting burned. How do you know something's going to hurt you? By getting hurt and you won't do it again. Oh, how do you know not to climb up the tree? By falling down and breaking your arm. You bet you're not going to do that again. Unfortunately, everyone has to learn the hard way. That's fine. Everyone better fucking learn. Because this is not the time for politics anymore. This is not the time for being like, oh, we want to own everyone. No. Learn what the tariffs do. Understand who pays for them. Understand, and actually, instead of being like, why, blah, 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 no, learn. Learn. Understand supply chains. Oh, he can just reverse it tomorrow and we'll be back to normal. No, you idiots. It takes months for the supply chain to get going again. You have to rehire everyone. You have to order everyone. The raw materials have to be moved again. You have to put in the orders. The factories have to make it. You have to load it onto the ships. Oh, by the way, there are boats. They're not airplanes. They're giant cargo boats that go like 20 miles to 30 miles an hour across the vast ocean. It takes a little while. Either way, not to get too angry. But this is a great time. Like, I urge a lot of you, for those of you who may have a tough time communicating with with other people, this is a great time not to get angry about it. can get a little animated, but this is a great time not to be like, oh my gosh, you're an idiot. No, it's like, do you now see what this does? Literally speak to them like you're raising children. Because when, like, I can do everything I can. My sons are a prime example to tell them blank causes blank. This causes this. But they're like, me like, no, it doesn't. Like for them, their truth is the absolute truth. That is fine. Once they get hurt, it's not the time for me to be like, I told you so, and rub it in their face and call them idiots. No, now's the time for me to be like, you see what happens? I'm not saying this to you because I hate you, because I want you to suffer. I'm telling you this because I didn't want you to get hurt. Now, do you see now by doing that, this is what causes it? Like, I'll put it this way. If like 5-10 years from now, we have these stupid trade war tariff talks again, we're done. We're done as a nation. Because if you can't learn from this, if the farmers, the supply chains, the small business owners, the retail workers, everybody is affected by this. Except the rich people. If you're not the 1%, you care about this very much. It's not political. Bam. There's not. Did you see the interview with... What? It's exact... Oh. Bro, there's... Ha ha ha! Gabe! No, there isn't. And I don't talk politics in any of my channels here. Period. I like to keep that shit out of here. That's not what this place is for. If you're here trying to bait, I'm going to give you a chance to either give me a sincere response here. If you're here just trying to cause turmoil and baiting me, you're out. Period. If you're mistaken, because I'm like, you know, I get it. I may look like other people, but there's a slight bit of racism coming through there. If that's the, like right now, I'm looking at a chat window, so I can't tell what you're what you're saying. You're joking. Oh, you're fine. No. Gabe Itch, you need to understand something. I get attacked left and right. So like when people post something, I'm like, wait a second, where's that coming from? I have to be acutely aware because I get reported left and right. I get death threats. I started getting ice threats. And so I need to be very acutely aware of how I'm speaking, what I'm talking about. Because if there truly is a video out there, I need to be made aware. So do not worry about that there. So, no, don't worry about it, man. It's, I understand. It's the heat of the topic. Please use, by the way, guys, please use emojis. If you're going to like, if someone's talking about like a pretty heated topic and you want to be like a little bit sarcastic, use emojis. It's the best way to be like, because the prime example of this is this. If you've ever seen a Key and Peele sketch of them texting one another, it's absolutely hilarious. You need to watch it. But people will interpret a message in two different ways depending on your mental state, right? Like you can be writing something like sadistically, and then the other person can be like, "Oh, that was sweet," and be like, "Oh my gosh, I was trying to offend you. Oh, you're so lovely." It's just like people will read it differently. But yes, I've gotten. It's already happened. Like the what's it called? I have people who want to shut me down. Who have like I'll put it this way, I have customers. I don't know why it's in this epic parade music. It's Final Fantasy relaxing music. So I'm just gonna. Here, I'll just put some K-pop on the background. But essentially, the best sarcasm. No, it's a sad thing. I have people. I won't say like whether it's businesses or creators or individuals who want to see me get destroyed. They want my business to fail. And so I already had customers come up to me and be like, "Hey, do you have your paperwork with you? Are you carrying around your passport? Are you carrying around your birth certificate?" And unfortunately, I already had this conversation with a lot of my other mutuals and my family members being like, you know, it's not a matter of like, it's not about making like a really angry TikTok and be like, "Oh my God, this is happening right now." It's just, you got to read the room. It's like, okay, this is happening. What are you going to do about it? Listen, like the conversations I like to have with people, what's it called here? Like it's, you can either react emotionally and just have a non-productive conversation, or you are faced with the situation. What can you do about it? And for me, it's just like, all right, I ordered a new birth certificate, got that in, gonna renew my passport, gonna get the real ID, gonna carry that around. That's what I'm gonna have to do. Like, unfortunately, like I can't stop people from doing those fake reports. There's nothing to stop it. There's actually nothing in place now for me to retaliate. I just got to comply. And so, you know, we're gonna be figuring that out there. What are you talking about? Maximum 2 per person. We have 9 boxes left, Angel from. I don't scalp. Yeah, Yusuf. So I'll talk about it in a second. Really quick, Gabe. I was born and raised in this country. I don't. So again, your phrasing is off there. If you say, "Bro, is it true that you were born?" Like that means you heard it from someone. That means you heard it from someone. But no, in terms of your, like, just listen to how I speak. Like, I love how people look at me and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, I speak better than you, motherfucker. God. But no, either way, no. I'm born and raised here. I am 2nd generation American. My kids are 3rd generation. Let's move on. That's what it is. Like, if you're gonna play this game of where you're from, like I'll do that, but tell me first. My family immigrated from Italy. My family immigrated from Ireland. My family derives from German and France. And like, start with that. Like, honestly, if you never want to be offensive to someone, like here, like, you ever watch the show Dear White People, right? I remember that being a show. So here, Dear White People, if you genuinely are interested on a person's background, right? You know, the best way to approach it is going to be asking, it's like, hey, so, you know, my family derives from this. I was wondering, like, what is your heritage? Actually, that's the best word. What is your heritage? Where does your family's ancestors come from? Like, it's a much more respectful conversation rather than the whole, so where are you from? No. Where are you from? Like, so, like, you'd be surprised on how many times I've had this conversation in my life. I'm like, I'm from Pennsylvania. No. Where are you from? Philly. Where are you from? I was born and raised in Philly. No. Where are you from? Rolling Hill Hospital, September 29th, 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, what are you asking me? It's like, no. Where did your family come from? Where did they immigrate from? Could you just ask that from the beginning? Could you just ask that from the beginning? My family immigrated from South Korea 40 years ago. It's just like, oh my gosh. But let me get to the, yes, it's my One Piece pirate tattoo. I genuinely do not know why. I urge you to go, like, whatever you're, like, I'll put it this way, I'm not going to get political with this. I urge you to just do your basic research, get off of TikTok, go Google, look at YouTube videos, look at the apolitical content on just learning your economics. Understand how global supply chains work. There are like 5-10 minute infographic videos that you can watch that are just simply facts. Get the feelings out. What I don't know whatever happened to facts don't care about your feelings, because that seems to have gone out the door. Think about how tariffs work, how global supply chains work. And literally, if it's just like a traffic jam, I think the best metaphor that I urge you all to use the same metaphor. How does most traffic jams and backups on a road start? You can say congestion, which is one. You get a lot of people coming in. But if everyone's flowing correctly, everyone's driving normally, it will still flow. But it takes one person to brake check someone, to drive across all 5 lanes, brake really hard, and it causes a massive ripple effect. You get cars, boom, 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 they back up. It's not just everyone doesn't just stop at the same time. It's like stop, brake, 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 brake. And now that one dumbass brake checker or lane cutter causes a 2-3 hour backlog. Or 40 minutes to an hour. LA, it's like 2 hours. But that is essentially what is happening with our stuff. Thank you for those that understand the analogy. By the way, if you don't understand how that works, there's also a YouTube video. Get out of political TikTok. Get out of emotion TikTok. Get out of owning the libs or owning the conservatives. Get out of that side of TikTok and social media. Go into information. Go learn. Go learn. There are videos that talk about this, but that analogy is the best metaphor I can give, visual of what the supply chain is. The supply chain, it is a very, very complex web of industries and businesses and moving components. It is a wonderful mess of logistics. That's why during COVID, it took us almost 2 years to get back into a semblance of normalcy. And so right now you can be like, well, it's only been a month. That month is that brake checker. You can be like, well, can't they just go ahead and start making the stuff again, put it on a ship and send it over? Ships move. I think you need to go research what a nautical, when like a ship goes, oh, the ship is going 20 knots. Please understand how fast that actually is. Ships aren't, not everything comes on an airplane. Everything comes in cargo ships that take months to get over here. So it takes months. So if like, it's usually up to, I believe, 6 to 8 weeks for a ship to go fully across. So when it's like, so if that happens, blocked. Oh, sure. Okay. I'm glad that this is such a controversial topic for you to block me, but sure. No, if they were to go ahead and start up the factories tomorrow, let's say they were able to make everything really quickly, right? Like, they were to fill a ship in a day. That'd be great. That's actually not unheard of, by the way. Like, they can load up a ship pretty quickly. But after they do that, it's going to take 4 to 8 weeks for it to get to the exact port. And then from the port, it takes several days to unload that container ship. And to then, it might take 2 to 3 weeks for it to finally process through the ports, get on the trucks, get to the warehouses, and then from the warehouses to distribute to the right person. So it could literally take 2 to 3 months before the first wave of stuff start coming. But the thing is, right now, it's going to be, again, if things don't change, supply is going to run out soon. We are a very consumer-driven economy, means everyone's buying stuff all the time. But once that supply starts shrinking, there's nothing to restock. Then you have what we had during 2021, and the later parts of 2020, where prices are skyrocketing, economy is slowing down, people aren't buying as much. And you can be like, well, what if they just start coming in again? It's going to take a while because the thing is, the current warehouses, depending on what you work, because there are literally, what's it called here? There are literally warehouses and businesses, distribution. So like the food industry is different. Like the food industry, like frozen foods, like they can have like a 2 to 6 month inventory stock on hand at any given time, like the granaries and stuff. Someone educated me on that. Retails. Danny, don't worry. Gabe is he is positive trolling right now, so don't worry. Like, you got to give him a minute. Let him like follow up his comments. I just saw that too. I was like, and no, but retail works a little bit differently. So like, as of right now, like our figurine distributor is already like, no more pre-orders. What we have right now, the tariff charges are on there, but that's all we have. So that's why we're charging more. My current distributor is looking to get rid of, they're liquidating their stuff so they can get one more last restock before the tariff charges so they can hold. Essentially, like, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to just go ahead and get everything I want. This is actually the perfect time for me to want to go buy things, because eventually and hopefully when, you know, things get back to normal, I would have the inventory necessary to get back into, you know, any type of normalcy or get through this whole entire situation. But that wasn't my position. And that's actually what I was hoping to do with the fundraising I was doing the last few months, is to get ahead, because I was focusing on paying off our debts for our business the last few years. That was where my main focus was. Unfortunately, like, if I could have, you know, the $800,000 I paid off in 2 years, I would have loved to put in renovations and loved to put in inventory. That would have been great. But I was working on getting us out of the situation that we put ourselves in, trying to franchise when we did. Okay. We already took ownership of it. I don't need any more trolls coming in talking about it. We've already learned it was a long, sacrificing, painful, depressing, you know, unaliving parts of my life, you know, getting to that person, getting to that level of depression of 2 years. I don't need to hear it. I've learned our lesson. But it's a matter of, like, you know, for me though, the people that I was able to have conversations with, they got ahead of it, right? They were able to order, like, a good friend of mine, she runs multiple dry cleaning businesses. So she ordered pallets of the supplies that she needs, because all of her chemicals came from China. And so she was like, I need to get this now before it's too late. And so, no need to apologize, guys. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, I've come to own it. I own my space. I put our business, I put my team and my family in that position. And it took a lot for me to, you know, like, do I have a valid reason to, like, blame every other person, everything that happened to Mark? Of course I do. But that doesn't do anything for me. I need to own it and then make sure that I make the decisions that not only do I not repeat those mistakes, but I can still move our business forward. The level of betrayal and everything that we dealt with in the last few years trying to franchise almost destroyed us, almost destroyed me and my family, my business, my partners, an entire community. All right. The worst thing I could have done in that point was, number one, disappear from the earth. But number two is to close, because there's still so many people relying on what we were doing, what we were building, including investors. So I pushed through, and it was very hard. It was very tough on my family, very tough on everyone. Yeah, I spiraled many times because it felt hopeless many times, you know. But fast forward to now, and we're in our last 2 months of our big loan payments, and we're done. Unfortunately, it came at the worst possible freaking time. Like, you know, everyone that's listening right now, I want to tell, like again, not getting political here, but I had a moment of, like, really? I was like, January. From July of last year to December, I had to pay over $30,000 a month in debt payments. We dug ourselves a pretty deep hole, and we need to get out of it. We did. It was our payment plan that we were on with multiple distributors and credit companies and all the places. So we're like, we're going to get it. And then we got to January, because December was our last 30,000 payment. And then from January through June was 10,000 a month. That's still a lot, but it's significantly less than 30,000 a month. So come January, we're like, okay, cool. We just need a few weeks. It's a winter, so we can't go crazy yet. But we were getting prepared. We were getting ready to start ordering, to start getting new inventory, renovating the store. And then all this tariff nonsense started. And then I was just like, really? Like for me, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, listen, you could have done nothing and everything would have been fine. You didn't have to fulfill this promise, right? And then for me, all the people who are talking about, oh, like, tariffs are a good thing. Please go Google. Google is free. It's like they're a multi-billion-dollar data company and AI company, but they at least give you Google search for free. Siri is free. Like, it is free to just be like, what are tariffs? Who pays for tariffs? What will tariffs mean for us? And then it should lead you down the rabbit hole. Oh my gosh, you guys ever see WALL-E? For those of you who haven't seen WALL-E, please go see WALL-E. That's actually another good movie to watch in terms of consumerism and stuff. But there's a scene where the captain, who really doesn't know anything, he is just oblivious to life and everything, right? He gets handed dirt. And then, you know, the system, he doesn't care. He's like, all right, whatever. He puts it down and the system analyzes it. And it shows him like, oh, this is dirt. Oh. And then he's just like, he does the thing that you should do when you don't know something. Ask what it is. So you ask, what is dirt? It's like, oh, dirt, otherwise known as earth. And it just kept going. And he started going down the rabbit hole of learning because he just didn't know. And the thing is, like, for everyone, if you like, it's not, you don't have to take micro and macroeconomics. Just a basic level of understanding. Tariffs are paid by the companies that import, and then they are passed down to the overall consumers. The point of tariffs is to generate revenue for the government. Now, usually you use this because you don't want foreign goods to compete with your local goods. So AKA the car market is huge on this. It's because, you have Ford, Chevy, Dodge, and you have all these American brands. So if you start just letting any company come in, those companies don't want that to happen. And also as an American, business, American government, you're like, well, I want national pride. So I don't want to be importing all these cheap cars or these maybe even better cars that are going to compete with my local market. So we're going to tariff those vehicles. All right. And then the US government, this is all from the last century, ladies and gentlemen, the last century. And then you can go either two ways. If a foreign business wants to do business in this country, they are either going to establish an American division of the business, establish a factory, establish something that will then give tax revenue to the importing country. Usually it's a tool to generate more business and so forth, but not as a retaliatory thing, because again, you just look at the trade deficit. Again, a trade deficit is just simply the math in terms of what we export versus what we import. That is it. It's a simple math. That's all it is. All right. We are an importing country. We went through our industrial revolution in the 1800s and the early 1900s, and during the 50s and the 60s. And we started transitioning away from that in the 70s and so forth. That's a whole nother lesson. That's a whole nother economics that, if you understand the history of America, like that's what we went through. We had every opportunity for those of you that all of a sudden are seeing videos from like China and Japan and seeing how like advanced they are and all this other stuff. That's what happens when a country reinvests back into the infrastructure, reinvests back into its people, reinvests back into societal benefits, essentially. Unfortunately, we're not a country that focused on that. Like since the 80s is when it started really going down with Reaganomics. Again, it's just simple math. We went from having this abundance of resources to put into our infrastructure to that's why the interstate came to be. You think building all those roads, blowing up all those mountains were cheap? No. That was a huge investment. NASA was a huge investment. All the technology we got yielded from that, like all the things that we have benefited from the 80s and set in the 90s to the early 2000s came from all these government projects that happened back in the day. People forget about these things. That's why, for me as a small business owner, like I will say this, of course I would love to pay no taxes. Then I can put all the money. And the thing is, the logical mindset behind that should be, well, you would then reinvest all that money back into the business. You give raises to your employees, you increase the business, you start investing into other things. So the tax revenues generated from that, the sales tax, the employment tax, the income tax from all of that would be the hope. But unfortunately, that's not what people do, unfortunately. And, we'll just see. Like, I'll put it this way, too. It's not all bad players. Unfortunately, it's just a majority that are bad players. But there's still, if you guys ever watched Dune 2, he was, again, sorry, I speak in metaphors. There's a scene where Paul Atreides is sitting there, and he's like, I see everything. I see our enemies in the past, what's to come, the chaos, but he sees one narrow path straight down. And you can still do that. And for me, like, I still choose to live by principle. And if I go down for it, then so be it. For me, it's I don't ever want my kid, like, I'll put it this way too. I don't ever want my kids to be in a position. I'll put it this way. I don't want them to be taken advantage of, but I also want to make sure that they hold to the morals, because the whole thing of, like, is it better to be feared or loved, right? There's an argument for both, because you're always going to have to be constant, no matter what position, you're always constantly looking behind your shoulders. But at least in terms of the loved part, your immediate circle you can trust a lot more, whereas fear, anyone can betray you at any moment. Even in the love part too, it happened. Like, that's why, like, even when the love betrayals are the ones that hurt the most. Sorry, I veered off quite a bit from the original topic, so I do apologize for that. But once again, just do your research. If you sit there and you're constantly thinking, like, what did the terrorists have to do with supply chain? Like, you really need to go do your research. Like, and I urge you guys, you see a person like that responds to you genuinely, like, they are genuinely responding to you with, like, how did the terrorists end up affecting my wallet or my grocery store? It's not like, oh my God, you're an idiot. That's not going to progress this conversation. That is a perfect opportunity, because they're asking why. Then provide them the answer. Don't play the blame game. That is the perfect opportunity for you to be like, hey, like, so did you not know how tariffs work? Well, here, like, I'll show you. This is how they work. This is how things do. But beyond that, this is why, it would cause a supply chain issue. Like, hey, are you willing to, like, do you want to talk about it? Or, like, are you okay with it? Like, you if they're willing to listen, then you should be willing to, educate. If they're not, if they're like, whatever, then don't waste your time. You don't need to waste your breath attacking them. You don't need to waste your breath trying to educate them. They just don't want to. Let them learn the hard way. Period. And unfortunately, in society, in every society, that's not even just our country, you're going to get those individuals that are going to face absolute failure. They're going to be in the most hardest part of their life. They're still going to blame something or someone else, or they're going to blame whatever someone told them to blame. It's going to happen. It happens every time. And unfortunately, there's no changing those people's minds, other than you got to give them a better life. But this is why, like, education is so important, because I'm not talking about, like, your, U.S. history. Like, it's more of the critical thinking part. I feel like critical thinking is so important because it makes you question, right? You need to have that skill. Like, it's not about being like, you're trying to own stupid people or you're trying to be a smart ass. No, it's called critical thinking. You can't call someone a sheep when you want to be a sheep yourself. You can't hate the very thing that you're trying to be. Like, it's hypocrisy at its finest. And if you can't, like, you got to be able to ask the hard questions. period. But but this is why it's about to get really hard. Let me get back to, if we have some new people coming in, we have to get back to why it's about to get hard. It's because it's a culmination of all of this nonsense. We don't have a pandemic to fall back onto, and we don't have stimulus checks to fall back onto. This is going to hurt. But this is going to hurt because there's no magical checkbook that's going to help us get out of this. Because on top of all the supply chain issues, like the first go around, the supply chain issues was because the world shut down. This time around, it was self-inflicted. It's not about just printing more money for us because the dollar has been weakened. People aren't investing into our country as people would like to think. The trillions that we lost aren't magically coming back tomorrow. And, for me, I really wish people would just get out of their own ass. And it's not about winning. Just understand why you're being affected too. And even for the people who are on the side of, well, you wanted this to happen, but you didn't realize it would affect you, and now you're upset because it's affecting you. Fine, it's affecting you. Instead of crying about people pointing that out, take that moment to understand what you did wrong. Because I'll put it this way. I'll be a hypocrite in saying that that wasn't the exact advice that I needed, because it happened to me. 2 years ago, when franchising wasn't working out, I had to, contracts were, had to be terminated. Stores were closing. Stores wanted to break off. The backstabbing started happening. The financial mistakes started piling up. And the trolls were pointing that out the most. And it's fine. The trolls can speak all the time. They're like, oh, it's always easy to speak in hindsight, because if you're wrong, all right, I was proven wrong. But if you're right, you're like, I told you so, right? But beyond that, I could sit there and try to defend every decision I did, which, I'm not going to apologize for the decisions that I made at the time with the information that I had. That's not going to fix anything. Also, me sitting there crying about it, engaging with the trollers, defending myself, blaming other people, doing all this out, this lashing out. The best thing I can do in that moment is to then look at what went wrong. What did I do wrong? Was the decisions I made, or even if it was external factors like people or industry, markets, whatever, look at it. Were there telltale signs that I should have been aware of? Were there red flags that I just ignored, or that I knew about but I still chose to ignore? And then make sure that you don't repeat that process again. So if you, single issue voters, they're the most hardest people to talk to. But people who are a little bit more complex, right? Because society is complex. There's more than one person in the world. I'm sorry that you don't understand that. There's more than one person in the world. To balance those complex issues, you got to be willing to have a conversation. So, for me in that regard, so you can get angry about it, and rightfully so. You're like, you know what, you deserved it. You failed. Okay. Then what are you going to do to change about it? And then do your best to avoid those things later on. As a business owner, like some of the videos I saw, you're a family man raising children, and you have a small business that your family relies on. Then would you not think, if there's any type of economic policy that is presented to you, that you would see how that would affect you? If you did not do that, that was highly irresponsible of you. But then you need to change now so that you can go ahead and prepare your family and business to be okay in the future. Just ride it out. Not everyone can ride it out. Not everyone can just lose their small business and then go magically get a new job in this terrible job market to then take care of their family like that. So you got to make sure you got to make sure that you're making the right decisions when you can, the best you can. When the tariffs started hitting in January, I was in no position to get, to hoard supplies and all that stuff right now. But the best decision I could do at the time was to prepare my team, my suppliers, my landlords, and my customers. Do your best to educate. We've already been pivoting our business to other industries anyway, so this was a perfect time to do so. And just like preemptively putting it all out there so that when the shit hits the fan, the conversations were a lot easier to have because we already prepared for it. Even financially speaking, I already started talking with all my creditors and my landlords and all that stuff prior to make preemptive deals with them in case things went bad. No, I couldn't magically wave a magic wand and order $2 million worth of supplies that I needed to make sure we can ride this storm. But the thing I could do is to preemptively look ahead and where we can, cut costs and stuff without firing people. So like another prime example is actually, so that's why I started Pokemon back in January. So I honestly started doing Pokemon. So Pokemon's been in a store for 10 years. It hasn't been anything crazy. We never did like collecticons or crazy amount of singles. We had a general weekly player base that came through that kind of grew over time. So we went from ordering maybe a case of booster boxes 10 years ago, 1 or 2 booster boxes, to now ordering 36 booster boxes and up for our normal player base. Nothing crazy online, nothing crazy there. We just took care of our player base because we're a diverse store. But in the recent year, the player base grew to a point where there were just there was a demand for more singles in the store. They're like, hey, why don't you do more singles? And it's always been for me excuses. My resources are tied up elsewhere. I don't have the time or the will to dedicate the time needed to make this into a $100,000 million plus business. It's just, there's no point. And then even 4 months ago, when my kids wanted to get into opening packs and stuff, they started opening up some good cards. I was like, oh, these are gradable. And I looked at whatever cards I had left over because I sold my collection a long time ago. But people, either gave me their cards or I've been sitting on some stuff left over. And I was like, what do we have? And we had like a few $100s worth of cards on hand. And I was like, oh, well, this isn't nothing. And instead of sitting there and comparing myself to other content creators, my mutuals, I have several Pokemon mutuals. I've been doing it for 5-10 years who have these big channels, big ass collections. They're doing fine. Of course, I'm nothing compared to them. And it will take me if I sat there looking at face value, all these Pokemon dedicated businesses, online sellers and so forth, I'm like, it's way too much. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to be able to get the supply to ride this wave to get it'll be all the excuses in the world, valid excuses, by the way. But what's that going to do for me in that position? Am I never going to start? No, I decided to start. I was like, you know what? I need to start preparing for, the birth of my daughter that's going to be coming, which, she was just born 3 weeks ago. But it was just it's something that I could do on the side, not seriously, not taking up my entire week, but do some deals with some customers here and there, opening up a couple packs here and there with my kids, just collecting what we can, send this out for grading and so forth. And then fast forward to the beginning of this month where we did our first show. And then I did my second show. And then I just did my third show this past weekend. And then this past week, I just priced out a big collection. I just did a big trade. I did a really big deal as well, too. And we went from our collection being a couple $100s to just a little under or over $16,000 in value. Essentially starting from scratch. Building it with what we have. I didn't really put big cash injections into this. This is just trading with our customers, trading with people who are getting out of the hobby, leveraging the resources that we had to just trade and just doing it basically. Just doing it slow and steady. Doing an 80% trade there, 70% trade there during the show, just fielding offers and going old school on it. And I started off with a handful of slabs. Now we have almost an entire binder's worth. And it's just been a like blessing. And I'm still not going like, I dedicated a little bit more time this past week because I've had to price out a lot of things. I found a new tracker to help me see the value of my see the value of the cards, what's going up, what's going down, as well as our profits based off of what we acquire the cards and so forth. Like a lot of data entry, but then building out the foundations. Now at the point where I think I got another couple days worth of work, but it becomes now managing it all. And then we're at the point now where I can finally put this in the store. I can put it on the website. I don't necessarily want to do TCG Player just yet because TCG Player is always a race to the bottom, and I want to maintain a level. Like, we'll still be at market, but I'd rather just deal with the consumer straight up. I already have a platform. We have a store. There's no reason why I need to go through another intermediary to take care of this. Now, that is also sales that could be happening. Like, I get it. There's pros and cons to it and stuff, but I'm not at the level where I need to do that necessarily right now. The name of the game for me right now is to not liquidate everything, but continuously growing the stock. Because the biggest thing for me was like even this past show that I did this last weekend, we only did like 900 in sales, but our inventory grew by $1,200 just during a 6-hour show. Some of the trades I did this past week, it helped add another 3,000-4,000 into it. So it's like you never know. Dino, you gotta win it. It's for the giveaway. It's our spring giveaway with the drawing in now in June. So the end of spring, beginning of summer, that's what we'll do there. So yeah. No, and what's nice is too, it's been Dino and Scales and my other team. They're now taking care of the conventions for me. Amy and the team at the store are taking care of the store, which allows me to then focus on my family, focus on the online content, the streaming, the back end management, but also build like this is another aspect of the business that's been neglected for 10 years. So let me build it out. Let me get it to a level where now it's churning enough money where I can then pass it off to another one of my team members or another individual, where then now our Pokemon, like our Magic singles is fine. It's doing great. There's more growth that it could do, but he's working on that right now. I'm working with him on that. This right here is another where if I grow it enough, I pass it off and becomes another arm of the business, and then I'm moving on to the next one, I need to start building out all the foundational pieces of the business so that we have more things to fall back on in case shit hits the fan. Nashville or Atlanta will still be a while, guys. I'm still recovering from the franchising process that I went through the last few years. This year was supposed to be the year where we got out of debt and we rebuilt the business. But unfortunately, with everything going on right now, it's going to be a little bit longer. But if we can get through this year and come out next year with a redone store, improved model, we're actually we'll also be into our 11th year of business. So, hold on a second, guys. Uh-oh. That's not a good email for me to see. Hold on a sec. Sorry, hold on a sec. Galaxia Gaming. Do you feel that vendors at shows aren't taking taxes seriously? Seems like a very... Yeah. So Galaxia Gaming. Do you really want me to get into that because I could. Sorry, just give me a second. So I'm not sure if you're still here, Galaxia. Sorry, I just had to make a... Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. So, sorry, there's an insurance payment I gotta make before it's too late. They're like, hey, we're gonna cancel if you don't pay. I'm like, I need my insurance. let me just pay my insurance really quick. I don't want to get in trouble. Insurance. Yeah, I just got the communication. I'm like, say what? Okay. So we'll take that later. What was I getting at? Oh yeah. No, they know. Galaxia. I'll put it this way. I don't mean this negatively, but you can't virtue signal to them. Because the thing is, the vendors you see, especially those you have seen been there, they know what is not officially reported, what is not officially taken cannot be taxed. I'll put it this way. The very loopholes that the rich people take advantage of in terms of taxes, these vendors are doing so as well. It's kind of very shady in my opinion. They do their best not to pay as much taxes as possible, especially sales tax. Because if you don't report it, you report it as your state's income. So this is mainly for a lot of the people who vend in California, because California is really strict and they have one of the highest sales taxes. So the California businesses will either establish themselves elsewhere, and then they'll be like, oh, all my sales came from Delaware or from this state where the sales tax is lower. Especially at the shows where you end up doing so little and you're like, well, I gotta pay $300 in taxes. That $300 could be like your make or break it type situation, or your ride home or your dinner that night. And so a lot of them will avoid it. And the thing is too, for me, I report everything we do because we're trying to grow. I'm regulated by the SEC, so I report to them every year. I'm going to be going through another round of funding, hopefully like official regulation A+, hopefully next year. And I got to have all of my ducks in a row, be like, where did this come from? Did you just, for someone who said you had no money, where did you come up with $16,000 worth of inventory? And then you got to have a paper trail. If you don't have aspirations of growing beyond your store, that's where a lot of shady practices start. I urge you to look no further than some of the small businesses in cities that are very cash heavy. So it's like, it gets very... That's what it is. So Galaxia, if you're looking to become more legitimate and beyond, you want to get proper financing, you want banks to take you seriously, you got to report everything, even the cash. If they just see that you're cash heavy, they're going to they're going to see that, but they're going to see that. If you don't report your cash, you can be like, let's say you do 50-50, 50% in cash and 50% in credit, which is not, the breakdown these days is more like 70-30, but let's just keep it 50-50, be even. You could be $1 million business, but if you're only reporting half of it, doesn't matter that you can make those bills. Like if you're looking for a loan for your business, you can make those payments, but as far as the bank and the credit bureaus are concerned, no, you can't. And they're not going to approve it. And if you then go to them, well, I have all this cash, they're going to be like, oh, hell no. Because that's a big red flag for money laundering or drug money or anything like that. So like they're screwing themselves by not doing that. But now some of these larger players that at the shows, they do so much in credit that they don't really care. I also seen it where the convention groups will sometimes use the cash from the shows to pay their pay the hired helps so that it's off the books for both parties. So it's just like there's a lot of reasons for why they do it, but if you get caught, the ramifications are far worse than it is to all the savings that you do. So hell yeah, Brandon. Yeah, we're trying to, but unfortunately everything that we want to order has gone up in ridiculous numbers. So we're going to be right now we still need to get out. We didn't raise quite what we had hoped last month with the funding round, and so we still have that open. But obviously right now with the economy the way it's going, I know people's investment power is going to be a lot less, but those that choose to get out of the whatever markets they want to invest in us, essentially what we're trying to do right now is hunker down. So we're going to be we want to work on bolstering our inventory. Nothing crazy, just like the base staples, the stuff that will move in the store. Products that are still popular enough to restock, like Pokemon and stuff. Not going crazy, but have enough that we can sell in store and online. We do need to renovate our cafe space in our store. The kitchen needs to be redone, the floor needs to be redone, the service counter and the furniture, because food and beverage are going to be the biggest things for us going into the unknown future right now. Because while retail sales will go down, people are still, like, let's say we go into a recession again, people are going to still need to eat, and people are going to look for that value in terms of where could I go that I can go eat but still have a good time and for entertainment. So places like Dave and Buster's might still go pretty strong. Bars are going to still go strong. And it's going to be very key. So where someone comes in, they might only have $20 to spend where they had $100 previously. They would rather come into our place, buy a bowl of ramen, get a pack of cards, and have a full day's worth of entertainment rather than just getting a meal elsewhere. So that value proposition is going to be very huge. It hurts as a whole, since it's almost like becoming an unspoken rule to happen. Yeah, no, it's Galaxia, I mean, at the end of the day, I urge you not to focus on the other players. To each their own. Because I'll put it this way, what you're doing right now, and I'm right there with you, you are focusing your energy in the wrong place right now. The time right now, the mental energy, your stress, you're thinking about it, even chatting with me right now, you're giving unneeded energy to those people. That's going to do nothing. This is not going to be productive for you. And I don't mean this as like a negative, like I don't mean to talk down to you and stuff, because I do this to myself too. Talking all about that, complaining about that is not going to do it. It's not going to help you in any bit. You already know what you need to do. Use that time to then do something productive for your business and for yourself. For example, in this very time that we spoke right now, like, again, I'm not like, I do this to myself too. So please understand. I'm just kind of telling you what I've gone through in my thought process as well. In the hour or 2 hours or days you spent thinking about this, you could have made some content talking about it and engage with others and get some views to your business. Here's what we do that I've seen other people don't, but here's what I'm doing. And then you may have gained a new customer or a new follower from that. Or you could just work on a completely different project altogether. Oh, that's fine. No, as long as you're thinking in that regard, you're definitely fine. I do apologize if I pause from time to time. I have a big canker sore right here. So it's acting up here and there. So I gotta... Ow. My daughter's doing great. Dippy, thank you very much for asking. She's been, she was 2 weeks premature, but thankfully, she's been gaining weight. She's been eating. She's been good. She's been crying. Both mama and baby are healthy, so that's the most important thing. Really quick, guys. I know I've just been chit-chatting. This is more like a radio style right now today. There are some new items on the website if you didn't see. I'm not going to publicly talk about it, but there is a new pre-order item that you can get. We have a handful of the Magic Final Fantasy booster boxes left. Just a handful. And I put up a handful of the other game. If you go to gamersheaven.com, you'll see. I added a few more of our slabs on there. This is like a slow and steady process. But I also added... Oh, wait. Wait, did it not get added? Hold on. Hold on. Wait, why isn't it showing? Oh, there it is. Okay. So, I am not a rip and shit channel, but I don't mind dabbing in it. So, I picked these two boxes up in a trade recently, so I paid way too much for, like, I'll put it this way, like, as a retailer that can buy things at wholesale, it hurt me buying these things because I pretty much bought them at market, which is like it's against my fiber doing for sealed product, but I did at a slight discount. So at this, I'll put it this way, guys, at these prices, I'm making $10 on them, so nothing crazy. That's why yesterday I was just like, man, Team Rocket, should I open it or should I keep it sealed? Like, right, like the Deep Pocket Monster, or do I take trades? Or do I do trades? And the website's right there. Now, you just go onto the website. If you're asking about pre-orders, you go to the website. I only put a handful up. It's a maximum 2 per person. It's more along the lines of, you know, we've ordered from 2 distributors, but we don't know how much we're going to get. I put in a request for a pretty healthy number, but doesn't mean they're going to give it to me. So I'm putting in an amount where if they don't even send me this number, something's wrong, especially if they're printing in the US. So it's just like, okay. So they're supposed to be $4.99 a pack. And it's 24 packs per box. But the one thing they're not giving to us is the final pricing because of the tariff charges. Because we don't know what materials and items. So again, they could be made in the US, but 9 out of 10 times it's made in the US with imported materials or stuff. So right now, they are not telling us what the final, like what our cost is going to be. That's the scary part, because they took that away because they're recalculating everything right now. So me and then some of the other stores who have put up their pre-orders, this is a gamble. Because if we're lucky, it comes out. Like if we're lucky, it comes out. We're at the right pricing. That's great. And what I plan on doing is then giving everyone free shipping. So just letting everyone know, I will be putting in. Right now, I know I can't do free shipping fees in case what the prices are. But if it ends up being around where we're supposed to be getting them, I'll be giving everyone free shipping, so I'll just refund the shipping, which I need to add that to the item. So I'm gonna remember to do that. Simon, that's what they're supposed to be, but I don't know if you're another retailer, you should be getting these emails from them. I don't know if you got the funny one, Simon, the one where they're apologizing on behalf of Ultra Pro. I don't know if you got that one. Just so you know, if you guys are store owners, if you guys are friends with store owners, we've been getting wonderful emails talking about the tariffs. How they're like, certain items you know, are going to be priced at this. Other shipments are going to be priced at this. The dice, Simon. Like again, if you're here in good faith, did you get the email about the dice? Oh, you gotta read them, Simon. This is why the pricing is an issue. The dice, I'll put it this way, my order of dice went from like $700 to over $2,000. And my distributor was like, so do you still want them? And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, oh, hell no. Like the Gundam battle dice ended up being like 3 times the amount. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm good. If I have the option to not take the dice, I will not take the dice because I ain't gonna take my risk on that one because I'm not for selling these dice sets for $30. On top of that, putting up $2,000 of my own money to sit on an expensive. Like, no, we're not gonna. I'm currently at the market price of $49.99. I am charging shipping on top. I'm going to add in there. I'm just going to do that right now. If the prices end up being lower than I anticipated, I'm going to give everyone free shipping. So I'm going to refund the shipping cost to everyone. On top of that, I also plan on, because again, I don't know how much I'm getting. I want to throw in free packs for everyone too. So as like a thank you for pre-ordering with us, I'll open up so if there's 24 boxes, I'll open up like another box or 2 and give everyone an additional pack or 2, just as a thank you for ordering with us. Until then, I don't know exactly what the final pricing is going to be because of everything that is going on right now. So let me do this here. Let me hear. Original amounts promised. There we go. This makes better sense. Like again, I'm also a business, by the way, guys, that like I adapt as I go. So like if there's an issue, I will address it right away. If like during our stream, I come up with a better idea. Oh, this will be another better insurance. Like for me, I'm still all about wanting to charge MSRP, but right during this time, it's kind of all over the place. So it's like me doing this is kind of being like, hey, listen, if you're willing to take a small gamble on us, let me go ahead and do this for you. Where, listen, we are charging $149.99, or sorry, $139.99 for a box right now, and you're paying for shipping. But if the boxes end up being exactly what we were charged, so like, hey, we're going to charge you this much, this is MSRP, and if it's still that way next month, great, I will refund your shipping. I'm saving it right now, so if you guys refresh your pages, you guys will see a please note under the you guys will see a please note under the a note under the pre-sale note. While we are charging market prices, this is just because the final costs to us have not been fully made clear due to the tariffs. If we end up getting the product for the original amounts promised, I will process full refunds for your shipping and throw in a free booster pack. Throw in free booster packs, because it might be 2. So I'll put plural. There you go. And I think that's more than fair, because then that'll make up the difference. So usually these should be, if I remember correctly, for, oh geez, that's the wrong one. These should be $4.99 times 24. So, and I'll put it this way, guys, it's not too far off. The prices for the box should be $119.99, like, you know, $120. That should be where it should be. So at the $20 surcharge there, number one, shipping should be up to $10 or more, depending on how many boxes you get. If you get 2, it's a bigger box. And then throwing in some additional packs to cover the extra 10. So I think that's definitely fine out there. Oh, Simon, we are getting One Piece. We should be getting our final allocations for 11. We ordered a lot for 12, which we were promised. OP 11, we were able to request more, so we should be getting more. So right now, I'm only putting up what I know I could sell. For the person that asked about the Final Fantasy Collector's Box, we got enough. So we ordered from 3 distributors. One came back and confirmed our numbers, but that was only enough. So for like the Commander decks, gift bundles, the collector's packs, we only got enough to satisfy our store needs. So we have a store with clientele of 10 years. We're taking care of them. Play boosters, they gave us a lot of. So we were able to split that between the store and online, which we did. If our second or third distributors, either one of them, confirm our numbers, that stock is purely going to the website, because the store is taken care of. The store is fine now. So anything extra we get, we're going to put onto the site. So just know that, like, if we end up doing it, you guys will see it here. So this is a matter of, like, check back to the site daily, because I'm adding new stuff every day. For those of you that also don't know, last month I had an issue with Shopify where they gave me misinformation, and essentially they forced me, when they shouldn't have, to delete all 2,000 plus items from my website until they verified everything. I was told incorrectly, and I'm very pissed right now, because then another associate, because I was told by 2 people from Shopify. And then I was recently told that I didn't, I'm gonna get mad, I'm not gonna talk about it. Jumek, we already held a beta event. You don't get any beta boxes. This is the scummy part about the beta boxes, by the way, guys. So again, choose your stores wisely. If you have a store that just has an extra beta box and they're selling for $500-$700, fuck them. Because, sorry, I understand. Because, everyone's got to make their bags. So they got to sell what you can sell. Bandai, you had to register. And then if you were selected to be one of the beta stores, you held a beta event. 8 to 16 players, depending on whether you got 8 or 16 kits. And then people were supposed to register for $80. It was $80 for essentially a pre-release kit. At first, we were like, what the hell is in these boxes that you're charging $80 for? Then we got them, and we were like, oh, okay. Hell of a deal. The stores were supposed to run events for $80 and run them. Can you guess how many actually did that? And on top of that, how many stores are actually not going to get punished for it? They're still going to get product. This is the messed up part, because this is what happened with One Piece. Because back in the day, 10 years ago when I started, you had to be a WPN store. You had to be a tournament store. You had to report your players and your tournaments and your events, everything, because your allocations were based off of your activity. No longer. Because, like, I can tell you right now, like, I'm a Gold Plus Bandai store, and I get rip and shippers that get allocated more One Piece product than I do. They don't run any events. They just rip and ship. So it's just like, gah. No, it was like they selected some stores, pretty much like, yeah, they haven't really enforced that. But either way, us getting gold is what allowed us to get. So you pretty much, like, for Bandai, the way they chose their stores was who ran events, who actually has a good track record with us, and then they gave it out to those stores. And then the sheer amount of stores I saw popping up on TCG Player, Because they'll cry ignorance. Oh, we didn't really get that much demand, so you're selling it online for 10 times the price. Got it. Omega, we have maybe like 7 or 8 left. Newt, thank you for the sub. Let's go. Subscribe for 8 months now. Let's go, man. You're the second sub of the night. Let's go. Oh, Solo Racers, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And obviously, by the way, guys, check back. I haven't put up the starter decks or the assembly decks because I ordered a lot, but if they're allocated, like if I only get 1 box of each, I'm giving it to the store. Because it's 6 in a box, so I got to be careful with that. Booster boxes are usually a bit more lenient with, so it's like, all right, we'll kind of be there. But if I happen to find out that I'm getting my allotted, like I ordered 60 of each starter deck. If I'm getting that, then I will go ahead and put half at the store and half online for you guys. Just know that I will plan on doing that for you guys there. And by then, I should know the final pricing. So MSRP on the starter decks are $11.99. The assembly decks are $29.99, I believe. They're more expensive, but they come with the miniatures. But either way, $11.99, not $30 or $40. $11.99 is the MSRP. Oh yeah, no, Simon, that's my thing. Like for right now, that's why like even if I were allocated numbers, if I don't have the final cost, I'm not putting them up for pre-order because if they're hit by the tariffs from China, it's going to be not $30 anymore. It's going to be like $60, $90 for one of those decks. It's like, ugh. No, thank you. But thank you very much for the support, man. Oh, see. There we go. Oh, Draxlite, you ordered a box too. Let's go, man. Appreciate it. Yes, I do ship the pre-orders. So I will be shipping them on release day. So just keep in mind, I will be boxing them up though prior. So most stores receive the product either several days or up to a week before release. This is why you see some streamers already have the product, even though the product didn't release yet. What scares me is when I see rip-and shippers get the product before we do, before pre-release. Because how? So those are the ones that make me scratch my head all the time. I'm like, how did you, like, who are you that you got this stuff before any of us are legally allowed to get? Like, okay. But no, yeah, just know that. So I will be, so the week of the release date. So my thing is this. So what's nice about this too is this. I am a pre-release store. I am a pre-release store. So advantage of a pre-release store is I'm actually allowed to sell early because I'm allowed to sell on pre-release weekend. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen, if we officially are hosting, because this is a standard release. So we have Final Fantasy pre-release kits. I will be shipping them out a week early for you guys because I'm allowed to as a pre-release store. Reaper Kills, what's going on, man? Let's go. Well, hopefully we'll see you at the shore. At the shore. I mean, let's go to the shore. Let's go to the beach for a day. Hopefully we'll see you at the store, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. And by the way, any of you guys, if you guys are ever looking to trade Magic, or you guys are looking to, if you're hint, hint, wink, wink, you're looking to get out of Pokemon and you want to put it towards any of these other coming games like Gundam or One Piece, message me. Email us on the website. I'll be more than happy to trade. Actually, that's how we got the first major injection of cards, was because I had guys who were getting out of Pokemon They're going all in on Yu-Gi-Oh because that's what their main game was. I have another guy who was he's selling his slabs to feed his pack opening addiction. So he's like, wait, if I do this, like, can I guarantee myself a box for every release? I'm like, for these 2 cards, I can give you 1. And so I got them. Yeah, I've been starting to get more requests for Digimon. I got burned by Digimon really bad, Okami. Just so you know that I lost a lot of money on Dragon Ball and a lot of money on Digimon. So I am very, very, very hesitant to go back on. Like, even recently, like, I will do it. Like, I will order some boxes if there's some demand for it. Like Final Fantasy card games. So not the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. The Magic the Gathering. They have been... No, sorry. Not the Magic the Gathering. The Final Fantasy TCG. There is an official Final Fantasy TCG game. Because there's so many. They came, we made a good amount, and then we lost a lot on Final Fantasy, and they left for a few years. They've magically started coming back to the store, and they recently started being like, hey, listen, we know we burned you, but like, could you start getting boxes again? I'm like, I don't know if my heart can take it. But yeah, what I'll do is like, I'll order like a box or 2 for their, like, to support them. And if they get back into it, I think I'm going to go in more. Oh, Omega! Take a look. Oh, you are definitely well. Oh, Omega, you haven't seen me. If you actually come over to my Twitch stream, because I'm currently live on Twitch, my Twitch guys will tell you I get a little bubble wrap happy. So do not worry. It's gonna be air packed or bubble wrapped to shit, like to hell. Like, I'm actually really trying to like my main focus for this summer, especially is to really rebuild and rebrand our e-commerce business. So what sucks is the custom boxes that I was going to order from China for our lifetime members and our general sales, unfortunately, I got to wait for all of that. So I'm going to be relying on generic boxes, but nice stickers. And I'm going to try to get custom tissue paper as well. But I really want to make that experience nice for you. So a lot of the redo that I'm doing right now is once I'm all said and done, I'm actually going to have, so I'm partnered with Elgato. We got these wonderful green screens. And so what I plan on doing is we'll do packing streams or even the rip and ship streams, right? Again, once in a blue moon, not going to be a rip and ship streamer, but when I'm packing your guys' orders, I will we'll do like a top-down view, and we'll have the green screen on, so I'm still there. We're seeing it together, and you guys will see how everything is packed on a big screen. So you guys will do that. But did I hear say I swear Digimon is like, hey, what about us? I literally have of the original Digimon cards, like I have like a couple. I think the most expensive one I found was the Shine Grainmon Ruin Mode. Like this is like I have 4 Digimon cards that I'm taking to like the card shows with me. So, Okami, do you want it? I'll sell it to you for 55, and I'll throw in these 3 cards for free. The Omegamon's sick, though. I actually really like this artwork. You want to do it, Okami? Deal, 55 bucks. Are you serious? I gotta take it off of TCG Player. Yeah, let's do it. All right, hold on. Let me take it off TCG Player. Let's go, Okami. That was the quickest deal ever. Let's go. Let's go to my inventory. My inventory only. Shine Greymon, manage. Azita. I'll literally pack it right now. Maxilla, unfortunately, I already made the deal. It was just, they're like $3-4 cards. Nothing crazy. That was really quick. How do I do this? We'll do product. You know what? I'll base it off the Pokemon slab. So, Okami, it'll be under the slab section. Yeah, no, that's sorry. That was really quick, Maxilla. I'm sorry. But no, do not fret because I will be ordering. No, Maxilla, don't worry. I will be ordering the 2.5 booster boxes. They have some available. I will be ordering them. They're yours if you guys want them. Like, I'm gonna order them and put a case on the website, and we'll just let it go. Oh, Okami, I'm putting it onto the website for you, so we can just go. We can go through the proper media channels. This is the Okami Digimon bundle. Let's go, Jumbo, with the resub. All right, let me put it on here. Image. This is for Okami only. Okami bundle, $55. I gotta charge you at least £1 of shipping so I can put it in proper packaging. One available. All right, Okami, if you go to our Pokemon singles, view all, you will see your little Digimon icon for you. So there's there. Actually, I'll literally pack this up right now. Wait, do I have the envelopes here? Hold on, just gotta see if I have the actual. All right. Homelander, what's going on? Maxilla, just keep me on my toes about it. Keep me on my toes about it. I'll get it going for you. All right. How am I? So the thing is, I didn't get my little card guards yet. So, oh wait, I had the perfect thing. So I ordered a whole bunch of card guards. So I do plan on doing like, I do plan on making like this a legitimate thing. Now, I do charge a little. Oh, no, don't worry. Just so you guys know, so I do charge a little extra for the shipping and handling, but it's because I make sure I don't cheap. You're not gonna get the cards from me in some cheap little envelope either. Like, say you're paying like $4 or $5 for the shipping. Like, you're gonna get. Like I always put my cards in bubble mailers. Always. I don't care if it's a cheap card. Like, standard quality, baby. You gotta live by it. Now, the red and black theming is not for Team Rocket. This is Gamers Heaven colors. But I know, I totally forgot about it, Maxim. It's just been forever. Dude, you gotta follow me on Twitch. I'll see, you'll see the streams a lot better if you do. Wait, what's this? Actually, Mac, have you followed me on Twitch? Because, like, it gives better notifications when I do go live. I don't sell Weiss yet. Okay, like, guys, really quick, in case you haven't seen those TikTok videos, I'm actually not, sorry, there's a verification check. I'm not a card shop. It's kind of ironic to think, you're like, well, you're selling booster boxes and you're literally selling a single, cards are less than 30% of our business. We're more of a lounge space. So the store is very different. Here online, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to finally admit it, aren't I? Cards are a lot easier for me to do out of my home office operations piece, my basement, you know. God damn it, I'm literally doing a card show every weekend. I'm gonna collect a con in July. I'm literally sitting next to slabs. What has my life become? You can only deny it for so long, Andrew. There he is. Oh, Kami. 사줘서 고마워. Oh, I considered it. So you're a card shop guy. No, stop! No, I will deny it to the bitter end. I will deny it to the bitter freaking end. No. I feel like giving you something. You're my first singles, like my card singles purchase of my new not card business, the GH singles. You guys like it, by the way? Like, it sounds like a weird dating app. It's like GH singles, come on by. You know, get them in a 9 or a 10. Sometimes they could be a 1, but they could be worth a lot. No, for being my first singles purchase. So I'm gonna throw in, so these were from like our leftover prize packs from Dragon Ball. So these are each worth like $3 a piece. I'm gonna throw these in for you as well. I gotta repack it really quick. You know, actually, hold on. All right, I'm learning as I go. The better way for me to do this is actually, so the Shine Greymon will stay in the top loader, everything else, because I gotta keep in mind, resources, top loaders are about to become really expensive too. So I have bags. Bags. I have card bags. Are these made in China too? They are also made in China. I better stop. I should legit start stocking up on these supplies now, before they get stupid expensive. He's the guinea pig of the. They're all double sleeved and dragon shields as well too. You know, that extra 50 cents in cost, it's worth it though. I'm a stickler. I double sleeve my shinies. I double sleeve them all. Yeah, I think Dragon Shield is Denmark, if I'm correct. Like, they were one of the... Yeah, everything's made in China at this point, though. It's just like... So, we do this. I'm also working out my processes. And then, to be, even though it's going in a bubble, I'd rather put some cardboard on it too. Oh, wait. It's just something to hold against anything. So so actually these card dividers will work, but I actually have I ordered a whole bunch of these card guards to ship them with and stuff. But you put them on each side. I'll put one more top loader on the one end. So you ship it like this. So I'm gonna pack it. This isn't very efficient for like mass shipping. Ah, shut up. I'm gonna take my time. I need to print out more of the. So I also like. I wasn't planning on selling cards tonight, but I plan on putting out like the thank you cards and everything, and we're building it back up, guys. Simon, why? I double sleeve everything. For me, it's just like it's a little bit OCD, but on top of that, it's that little extra step. If you like, I'll put it this way, like, you know, as a fellow business owner, I personally believe it's like that in Japan. Like you go above and beyond even on the little stuff, because you shouldn't just be giving like the level of service you give to someone who's buying a high-end card. You should also give to the person at the low-end card, because you don't know what walk of life that person's coming from. And at the end of the day, if you give them that extra service, you don't know who that person may become. Or anything like that. But just because they're spending less doesn't mean that you shouldn't give them equally as much good service. Now, I do understand if it's like a penny card. You're not going to spend 50 cents on a 50-cent card and, you know, you make nothing. But for me, like, I will do it as long as we're still making something. At the end of the day, too, you buy all these sleeves, you sleeve up all the big cards. The profits from there are more than enough to cover the low-end stuff. I consider like those like the rotisserie chickens for Costco. You don't make money on it, but people are happy to do that. So, yeah. Let me process the order. I gotta log in again. All right, log into my ship station. Why would it get bad for small businesses and everyone? Alf, are you legitimately asking that question, or you, just to start the conversation? Just so I can gauge where you're coming from, like, because it's a ripple effect. Everything from supply chain, all the tariffs. Oh, so both. Okay. Sorry, let me just. I just got it. Let me just log into my ship station really quickly. But I'll be more than happy to talk about it. Sorry, I'm trying to ship out this order, so I'm just trying to. I just got to make sure I can log into my system really quick. There we go. Give me a second here. Let me just finish logging in. You caught me in the middle of processing an order, so I do apologize. Let me just finish the login really quick. All right, I'm in. Legitimately, you're interested. Okay. No, I mean, like, you know, if I simplified it, like I got the emotions out of it. I talked about it earlier too. So again, my approach here is not to get political. I'm not going to get political here. We're going to just focus on facts. You know, guys, remember the phrase, facts don't care about your feelings. So right now, like, you know, we won't talk about the cause, but right now the situation is this. Because of the tariffs that started, you know, the trade war that began, back in April, factories, companies from both ends started to stop. They pretty much almost stopped producing. And right now it's a situation of, because there were no orders to be fulfilled or sent or produced, you have ships. Right now, the news you're seeing about the ships being, you know, like, you know, they're just hovering over in China, right? All of the ships that are sitting right now at the ports of Shanghai and so forth, they were meant to come here. But, you know, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, now they don't have a place to go. So they're just parking there until everything kind of settles. So right now, you know, the biggest thing is this. For those of you that think, please, like, I urge you to go, you know, I urge people to, you know, again, take your feelings out of it. It's not about winning or losing. This is a great education time to go look up videos on how tariffs work. Because on a macro sense, very easy, like, you know, here's verbatim. Tariffs are paid for by the importing company and ultimately paid by the consumer. Yes, the revenue generated from those tariffs go to your government. That you know, that's the basis of it. But you can't focus on one of those, like, of what I just said. Do not focus on that part, because it is then paid by you. It is a tax on your consumers for buying imported goods. Usually, small or big, it's fine. Like, usually tariffs are used in the past a way for so that you can protect your local businesses. So, for example, if the United States had, you know, U.S. auto manufacturers, right? Oldsmobile, Ford, Chevy, and so forth. All of a sudden, all these other international brands wanted to start coming in, but then that would then start making competition for, you know, the local brands, and you want to keep American brands strong. So then you would implement tariffs to these companies to be like, hey, listen, if you want to import that car, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to get that, because, you know, instead of, you know, since you're buying an import rather than an American car. Then now, obviously, fast forward, there was incentives for those companies to build U.S. factories and so forth, but those are over decades of time and everything, and that's fine. That's how usually it's implemented, to protect your own domestic interests. Since the 70s, we obviously outsourced all of our manufacturing to other parts of the world. So we went from being an exporter to an importer over several decades. But again, you can go research tariffs on your own there. But the biggest thing that happened was, again, once he announced those all of those tariffs at once, especially the ones with China. Let's forget about the rest of the world for a second. China is the main producer of like the majority of our goods and services, our supply chain. Everything that you get from Walmart, CVS, your daily needs, Amazon Prime, whatever I can name 20 things right now in front of me that are made in China. When the factory cease, right? You didn't see, the markets are still up and so everything. No, like markets are speculative. You're not seeing the real world impacts here because right now the ports being empty is a sign of, because it takes 4 to 6 weeks for a ship that gets loaded to come from China to the U.S. ports. Remember, ships aren't airplanes. They move very slow because they have a lot of stuff on them. So they take a while to get here. You're starting to see that now in terms of the ports being empty, which means the importing companies as well as the importers are not bringing in as much as they would have, because let's just be honest here. The companies are evil because, if you know from the COVID, they raised prices because of supply chains, but they never brought down the pricing. So they're in it for the money. They're in it for the profit. But even they understand if like this water bottle, right, this thermos, right, that normally costs $10 MSRP, cost that company $6 to produce and cost the goods at $6, right? If now all of a sudden this is now costing them $20, there is no way in hell that a consumer is going to pay $60 for this. Or even to get the same margin. Let's say they want to keep the same margins. Okay, $24 now for this thing that used to cost $10. So if that happens, so for them, that means they're not going to import as much. Doesn't mean they're not going to bring some in because they can't have zero stock. But instead of having a shipload worth of stuff, they're going to bring in like maybe a crate worth or a pallet worth. Some companies are now going to the point where they're bringing in small micro restocks through airmail, because if it's under $800, it's not being charged, but that's not sustainable. For small, like your home operations or mom and pop, you can get away with doing that here and there, but that is not sustainable. But think about that too, though. So now all of a sudden the supply chain is gone. I want you to keep in mind too, warehouses in this country. So if I'm boring you, I understand. There's like infographic videos on YouTube that are apolitical, meaning down the middle. It's just facts. You can please go learn how tariffs work, how the global supply chain, the chain network works as well too. Because most warehouses in the United States, depending on what it is, retail versus, food, they will usually typically have anywhere between a few weeks to a few months worth of inventory. No, they don't hold years worth of supplies because that's just inefficient. But what that means is when you hold like, let's say 6 months of supply, or not gonna be 6 months, but 2 to 3 months worth of supply. That means whatever's in the warehouse, let's say if everything stopped cold turkey, there's enough inventory in there to theoretically to rotate the product on the shelves for 2 to 3 months. After that, it becomes zero. And that's what's happening right now. Production stopped, shipments stopped at the beginning of April. It's been a month later. The first wave of ships from the tariffs are starting to hit. So from the 100% ones, the 200% ones are right behind them. So they're hitting now, but they're coming at significantly less because there's so many people like myself. Like, I need to order new fixtures for the renovations for our store. They went from being $30,000 to almost $10,000 to over $35,000. There's no way in hell I was going to pay that because I couldn't. So those are just still at the ports there. Over in China. And keep in mind too, they're being charged not upon delivery. Because like, I know some people like to make the argument. They're like, well, why don't they just ship it, put it into the US ports? And so that way they're at least here and the companies can buy them as they need. That would be great in practice, but the U.S. government is charging it at the ports of departure. So they cannot even load the stuff onto the ship until they paid the tariffs for it. At the point of departure, not the point of entry. So, like that whole thought process, we can just restock from that doesn't work because they're doing that. So now that's dried up. And keep in mind, this is the simplified version of a very complex network of goods, materials, and services across the board for the individual stores, big businesses and small businesses. So just in that sense, so once that supply runs out, because right now you have companies who have been working through the stock from 2 months ago who are now running low, and they're now starting to having to, because they're used to just having full shelves. But now those shelves are half full, a third full. Now they're starting to have to be scarce about what they put out or increase prices. The reason why you're hearing it's not fear mongering, it's the truth. Empty shelves are going to come because they have nothing to fill it with. Once they're sold, you can only spread apart your inventory for so months until you have nothing to spread out. But let's backtrack even more though. With all of those thousands of ships that are just sitting at the ports, not bringing in goods, the reason why you're seeing strikes right now, you're seeing layoffs from logistic companies, trucking companies, warehousing companies, and UPS is because they're getting ahead of it. There's no point in keeping a payroll for all of these people when they have, there's no revenue going to be coming in. You have almost little to no, compared to what it was before, no containers coming in. So you need one person or one robot to maintain the dock because there's not that much coming in. So the demand for drivers, the demand for warehouse stores, the demand for all the logistics, it's not just the drivers in the storage. You have all the people who work the docks, work the warehouses, everything in the trucking industry. I think people fail to realize how connected our industries are. Just in the trucking industry, right? Let's say all of a sudden all the truckers lose their jobs. Well, there goes all the jobs for the maintenance of the trucks. There goes a lot of the hotel lodging for those truck drivers. There goes a lot of the food sales that those truck drivers would have given to all the interstate rest stops in those small towns that they usually stop in. With those revenues going down, all of a sudden the small towns that relied on travel and truckers to come by for their businesses, they're losing money. And now all of a sudden they have less revenue, so they have less money to give to their workers, or AKA put back into the local economies. And then all of a sudden, those people who work those industries, who would have normally spent it on the local Walmart, the local thrift store, the local businesses, no longer have that paycheck to stimulate the local economy further. It is a horrible ripple effect that it has. And it just continues. So let's go with the bigger industries and the retail businesses, or people or even the small businesses who work from home, who are Kickstarter businesses. You have your own online selling business that you do. Now you can't get your goods, and you can't out resource the bigger companies. So now you have less. Now you have less money to go ahead and spend on whatever you need to sell it. You may have to lay off people. You now have less money to spend on other goods and services to promote your business, like printing and marketing, like trade shows, like the online sites for for Silicon Valley and so forth. Like, the amount of economic impact that people have, you need to realize how far your money goes. Just think about even where you spend your money, right? On a daily basis, from the cost of living, the product and goods you do, the transportation you use. You have a car. Where do you get it serviced? Where do you get it gas? Where do you get your daily coffee? Where do you get your daily meals? Your entertainment. Do you stream? Do you go out to the movies? Do you go to a nerd business? What do you consume, right? All of a sudden, let's say now you have a third of what you used to have. Now you're spending less. Well, guess what? The businesses that you're now spending less on, they're getting less of. And they're now going to have to. It's a constant cause and effect. So, when you sit there and you be like, what do I care about truckers losing their jobs? Well, you should care, because that's going to affect you one way or another. Well, I work in this industry, so that's not going to affect me. It may not affect you right now, but if it continues for long, it's a thing where it's a virus that's not on your foot, so you don't care because it's not on your hand. But you let it fester long enough, by the time it reaches you, the level of devastation that has caused is going to be catastrophic, and it's going to take even longer to recover from. Whereas if you addressed it right in the beginning, I hope that makes sense. Like if you have an infection, you address it at the source right away. But if you let it fester, by the time you like are ready to do it, it's just like, so you're saying it's to come off the fire. That's one way to look at it. What the fuck is he talking about? Well, you obviously came in at the wrong part of that conversation. Yeah, he came in at the worst part. Like I'm giving an analogy, and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? And then I'll put it this way, even too. What does amputating your foot and infections have to do with tariffs? Like, this is the whole part of context, folks. Again, this is what TikTok's bad for. If you only listen to a 30-second video or you come in the middle of a topic and you're like, this guy is crazy, like, context matters. But I hope that makes sense to you guys. Like, now after, like, obviously that's like a very high level of the entire supply chain logistics and how things are going to be ripple affecting. Like, a lot of you who only look at the stock market as an indicator of how the economy is doing, you are being woefully ignorant of what's going on today. That's true. No, I hope and understand. And I'll put it this way, guys. Like, even I don't care what side of the aisle you are. You'd be like, oh, you should care. Like, hold on. Let's be educational about this, because I understand the anger of like someone who is like, I don't care about tariffs, and then all of a sudden the tariffs, like, there's a prime video example of this. There's a small business owner that didn't care about the tariffs, but now the tariffs are directly affecting his business and it's affecting his family's lives, and now he's devastated, and he's just like, he doesn't appreciate all the hate and stuff. But the thing is, like, it goes both ways. But I urge you guys to do this. No matter what side of the aisle you are on, if the other side is experiencing a negative situation, we are in a society, we are fellow citizens of this country. This is how we should react. But I get it, like, people like to, like, again, facts don't care about your feelings, but a lot of people be caring about your feelings a lot lately. But this situation here, that person is now willing to learn, right? It's like, I hate to say it this way, but you need to treat them like children, but not in a sense of like the maturity. But how do kids learn most of the time? It's through trial and error. A lot of times, I'm dealing with this now with my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old. It's a prime example of this. I am talking to them. I'm like, hey, listen, don't do this because you guys could get hurt. No, I won't. I won't get hurt. That's silly, Dad. You don't know what you're talking about. Blah, 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 blah. Misinformation. Blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, this is like a perfect analogy. And then they proceed to do the thing, and then they get hurt. Now, in that moment, I get it. A lot of you will be like, haha, told you so. Or why would you do that? Why are you being such an idiot? Why are you being... That's the wrong way to have the conversation. Because then all of a sudden they feel embarrassed. They're angry. There's emotions going on, and they're just going to lash out. The proper way to respond is like, especially if like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? This is devastating. I didn't realize this. Did you not know what tariffs were? And not in a condescending way. Like, did you understand how tariffs worked? It's like, well, yeah, it's this. Well, did you research the full definition? And do you understand do you know how the supply chain network works? Like, even in your own business, if you don't understand how your supply chain network works, like, especially for those that saw this coming and they're like, oh, I'll be fine. That means you don't have a grasp of how your business is not only structured, but what you rely upon. This is a great opportunity because guess what, folks? When people are going through their hardest time is when they're actually willing to listen. If you further distance them from this, nothing productive is gonna happen. I just had this conversation the other day. Like, again, I'm apolitical with a lot of things. But someone came up to me, another fellow business owner came up to me. He was just like, yo, why is this affecting me? I'm like, did you not know, dude? Like, I talked about you with months ago. Like, I told you, like, I'm not in a position to start stocking up like I wanted to. Like, I wanted to order pallets of stuff just to get ahead of things like my friends were. But financially speaking, I couldn't. But I started preparing my team, my landlords, my creditors, my debtors. Like, I started having the conversation months in advance. A lot of people call me crazy. Even with my friend who imports a lot of things from China, I was like, hey, dude, are you starting to get supplies ahead of time? Like again, it's not about getting emotional and angry. It's like, all right, I am dealing with this situation. How should I respond? What can I do to not only get through it, or can I get prepared for it? Even now, it's not too late. You reacting emotionally right now isn't going to help you right now. The best situation to do right now is, what can I do to lessen the blow? Okay, you can't be proactive about it. Empty shelves are coming. People with less income are coming. Okay, what can I do to save my business? Be proactive about it. He's my friend right now. I told him like 4 or 5 months ago, after the elections, I was like, hey, dude, you might want to start stocking up on supplies. He's like, oh, it's not going to happen. And then January, like the 10% hit. I'm like, dude, 1%, like the 100%. Like, dude, what are you doing? And then now it's too late. And he's actually now folding his company, which is really sad, because he has massive amounts of debts. He relies on his business this is a person, by the way, that did over 5 million in sales annually, but his costs were so high. It was very, 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 low margins, but it was high cash. So he got a lot of funding for his equipment. Like he got a lot of financing piece. He showed $5 million cash, cash flow. He went from being there just about to break even, and now he's stuck with millions of dollars in debt and no way of replenishing his inventory. Like, he's going through bankruptcy processes right now. Like, for those of you that think like this could be a quick solution, people can just fight through it and hold through, that's not reality. This is why, when people are talking about this will devastate small businesses, because it will, because they don't have the means of weathering the storm. Small businesses are just like low to middle income workers. We are also working paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Everything that comes in, 1 month, I have it this way. One of my best months I had was $100,000 in sales at my store. Rent, utilities, cost of goods, professional services, internet, employee costs. And by the end of it, we ended up netting around $5,000. We also have a lot of loan payments, so keep that in mind. But okay, $5,000 profit. Great. You increase our costs by 10%. Let's say my expenses went up 10%. Let's just keep the math simple. My expenses went up by $10,000. All of a sudden, my $5,000 net profit has become a net loss. And now my business is in the red. And again, if you go around thinking, oh, that's nothing, you can weather, every business is a millionaire, this is the problem. Because that's not the case. You got to stop being manipulated by all of these external players. Like, I'll put it this way, to me, like for me, do I listen and read books made by some billionaires and some of these people? Yeah, I do. They have good knowledge in it because they got to where they are. But when they start telling me about the woes of the middle to low class, I start not listening, because they don't know. When someone with hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank is like, oh, milk costs going up a few dollars, gas is going up $2. You can hold out for a few weeks, a few months, you'll be fine. It's just a few dollars. Okay, so my gas going up another $5, $10, my grocery bill going up another $10, $20. Okay, there's $30 less I have to spend now that I was going to do especially for families, right? I'm going through that right now. That's one of the problems I'm going through right now, where I just had a newborn. We should stop having kids. Thank you for the positive conversation. Or you shouldn't have had kids. Aren't you an idiot? Like, again, thank you for the positive notes. It's one of those things that I'm having to deal with. I'm not coming on here crying about it. It's the reality of the situation. My business, we're weathering it through. The thing is this, 2 years ago, I saw this coming. Not this exact situation, but prices weren't coming down. If anything, prices were going up from 22 to 23 to 24. That was what's happening. Companies were getting more and more greedier. Prices were going up. Revenue income wasn't. Minimum wage, people's income source wasn't going up. The fact that I saw more and more people doing the co-living, going in with other roommates, housemates, they're going back to their parents' home. People are spending less on, retail goods. And so the writing was on the wall. It was already happening. And this was just exacerbated. So like for me, 2 years ago, I already identified, I was like, most of my mutuals were hitting double-digit losses from 21 to 22 to 23 and then 24. So the writing was on the wall. Like, not that retail was going to die, but it needed to change. The focus of our businesses needed to change because the needs of, in my specific industry, the nerd and gaming and cosplay and anime communities, their needs were changing. It's not that they were getting out of it, but not as many people were as cash heavy. Not as many people were buying and stuff. So what is it that my brick and mortar store can service beyond that? All right. And then obviously I know, why didn't you start working on it 2 years ago then? Well, 2 years ago, I had a failed franchise process. So I accumulated well into 7 figures of debt by the end of my failed franchise process. And, during that time, I had to identify what went wrong, what went right, and so forth, and what we needed to do to weather the storm after considering everything that happened. And instead of quitting, I spent the last 2 years focusing on repairing the business. Number one, getting out of the debt, but as well as making a game plan for how we want to implement these changes once we got out of debt. I had a 2-year plan. We are in the last 2 months of that 2-year plan. This couldn't have come at the worst time. Just when I'm about to be free. After the 2 year gone, by the way, 2 years ago, I didn't think we would be in this position in terms of the debt. Like, we eliminated over $800,000 of debt in 2 years with one store and one online platform. Like, pulled a freaking miracle. 2 years ago, I was like, all right, it'll be great if we make it a year. For me, like when I go to declare bankruptcy, hopefully I have all of these off of my books personally, right? That was the main forethought in terms of like not quitting and stuff. But now I'm here. We made it. Damn. And it's just like, for me, it's just, it would have been nice if I had that 800 grand to put back into the store, make the changes that I wanted to buy the inventory that I wanted, but that wasn't it. And I'll be honest, I had a day where I was like, so I've taken responsibility. Trust me, taking personal responsibility has been not giving up and sacrificing everything we did to get through all that the last 2 years. And I already went through my own personal demons and I got through it. But I was human for a day because, there was a day where I sat there, I was like, with everything happening, it's like, man, especially with all this hitting, I saw this coming. I'm like, man, if it wasn't for this person, if it wasn't for this happening, if it wasn't for this happening, if it wasn't for this happening, we would have had this extra money to redo the kitchen, to have all this and not be in this situation. Legitimately got angry about it. Like, it's I could be forgiven for getting angry, but that does nothing for my current situation. So I had a human day and then went back to work because that's not going to solve my problem. And right back to it. And I'll be honest too, about 3 weeks ago, I was on the edge of a complete mental breakdown and burnout just because like, it's one of those things where you're at the last leg of a marathon. The last 100 meters is like the worst because you have nothing left, but you got to push through the pain to finish. And for me, like me and my team had like a crash out. So we took a couple weeks off. Had some difficult conversations with all involved parties, but we came up with a plan and we're now executing upon it. For me, I think like 3 weeks ago, my daughter was born prematurely, 2 weeks early. The entire time I was at the hospital, this is how bad it got for me. The entire time my wife went through her 23 hours of labor, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this can't be happening. She cannot come out right now. This is the worst time that she can come out right now. Like, please, like, let this be a false one. Like, I was like in tears because I'm like, this, like, I can't take care of you right now. Please don't come right now. Like, that's how bad it got for me. I'm okay now. Don't worry, guys. But I'm trying, like, my point is this, like, for those of you who are either small business owners, content creators, or just individuals, you're going through it right now. And you're like, what is going to get me to get up tomorrow, to push through this? You got to have that one thing in your life that grounds you. And anytime someone comes to me with asking me for advice, this is the biggest one I'll give them as a small business owner. Have that one force in your life that's your positive force. Whether that's a pet, an item, a food, a video, a content creator, a family member, wife, partner, kids, parents, doesn't matter. The one thing that brings you joy, the Marine Kondo, what brings you joy in life, right? Remember that, and that will keep you going forward. For me, not to be cliche, but it is my children and my wife. When my daughter came out and I finally held her, like, it became all clear. It's not about how, just do. I have a responsibility to not only my investors, my employees, my customers, and my community, but I have a responsibility as a father, you know? So I don't have time to putz around. Like, you got to go, you got to move, you got to hustle, you got to continue. Yeah, it's still been tough the last few weeks. Like, even though, so by the way, not that, you know, I urge you all to do this too. So during the 2.5 weeks I didn't stream, I also stayed off of TikTok. I stayed off of Instagram. I stayed off of social media for 2 weeks. I still kept up with, like, how did you find out what's going on with daily news? It's called news sources around the world. You don't have to rely on TikTok for your daily news. There are credible news sources that are not biased. I urge you to literally go search. Again, Google is free. Google is free. Give me a nonpartisan news network. Give me a data-driven, what is going on? You can find it. You know, say what you want about AI, but Google has been listening to you for 30 years. They know. How do you know that they know? They know. They've been listening for 30 years. How do you, like, I'll put it this way. If you can't trust a company that you're having a passive conversation about some random bullshit topic, and then the first thing that pops up in your Google search, it's that topic or that item. If you cannot trust a company that can provide you that level of data, like in terms of analyzation and stuff, I don't know what I can do for you. Now, I mean, you're like, oh, but Andrew, AI lies. There's deep fakes. I mean, of course. This is why, like, in terms of like education, again, not to get political, education reform needs to happen in terms of what we are educating our children of tomorrow. Like, I grew up in an era that came from the end of that, the industrial boom, the boomer era, you know, the factory, corporate level, like 9 to 5, like, unfortunately, the millennials were at the end of that. So that's the era I grew up in. But I recognize now, for me, like, the things I want my kids to learn is critical thinking skills, fact-checking skills, researching skills, how to decipher what's real, what's not, how to identify deepfakes where it's not, to question multiple sources. So when you are presented with facts, are there counterfacts? Are there facts and research or reality to reinforce that fact or the other fact, right? Be able to look around and ultimately be able to call bullshit. Not with your feelings, but with facts. I think the prime example for me is, like, as a minority, it's like, all right, 0.1% of your people does this, so all of you are guilty. Um, the generalization needs to stop. And I'll put it this way too. I've done it. I have done reverse racism. And I've been kind of ashamed by it. Not in a way that probably some of you may be thinking, but I grew up being bullied, being the chink, kung pao chicken, being beaten up. Like my chronic depression came from that, right? I hated I was born a different color. I wish I was born white. Like that's how I was throughout high school, elementary, middle school, and high school. And just from what I saw online and on TikTok, when we eventually went viral on TikTok, we started expanding. I started doing cross country shows and trade shows. A lot of my Twitch followers know this. When it came for me to drive across states like Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho, Montana, all of the middle areas and stuff, right? You know, for me, I was always on guard. And the thing is, for those of you in those areas, you will also say, rightfully so, there are people who would want to unalive and disappear me. They're like, that is a fact. But to say that every person I met was like that, that is also incorrect to say. Because some of my most genuine interactions I've had with people with, you know, the anime wrapped car and the whole industry and so forth were people from those very states. My favorite interaction was still South Dakota, in the middle of nowhere. I pull out and it's just like, this is typical redneck territory. Okay. Confederate flags galore, galore. I'm like, this is like the South of the North. We pull over and, you know, I fill up, we go in and get food, and I get the eyes, I get the stares, like, oh, you're not from here. Like, I get those, right? I'm used to those. Then these guys pull up in an RV, beaten up RV, come out, typical. I'm talking blue overalls, straw hat, with the attitude. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm like they look at the car, they look at me, they look at the car again, they come towards me. I'm like, oh, this is about to happen. This is about to happen. And I started preparing myself to just run, essentially, because I was like, I'm not in a place where I'm safe. Comes out and, like, you know, again, some of you may know the story, but guy goes like, is that your anime car? I'm like, yeah. Yo, my daughter loves that anime shit. I have no idea what the hell she's been talking. Can you help me? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, and we just ended up having this like 15-20 minute conversation. Fellow dads. We were just talking as fellow dads, one dad to another, trying to learn something. It never came up. And eventually, like, I ended up just giving him, I was like, hey, like, I don't know what your shows your daughter's into, but here you go. Loved it. He even asked to trade his RV for my car. He's like, my daughter would be so happy if I got it. I was like, but it was just like, I was like, man, you know, and I've had that interaction several times in all the states that I mentioned. And it was just like, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Even though, like, I didn't treat them differently, but mentally, the fact that I was like that, like number one, it's sad that I had to think that way, but it's also sad that I also think the other way. And I was just like, man. So I was just like, it's been a great learning experience. I'm sorry, that was wildly off tangent, but I hope that helps, like, open some of your guys' eyes in terms of, like, prejudice does exist, and I get it because you draw upon your life experiences. You don't deny it, just understand it. The problems that you are so quick to be like, I'm not like that. No, like, no, you probably do. Just recognize it, right? I got friends all the time who cross that line with jokes. But the thing is, though, I know it doesn't come from a place of malice. Because they, you know, on one hand, it is insensitive, but on the other, they feel comfortable enough with me. You can be like, oh, that's not cool. No, you know what? No, it's not about that. It's, they know it, but they, like, for me, I'm aggressive, right? One's a ginger and the other one's a high school dropout. And so, like, I got ammunition too. I got ammo too. But it's, you know, it's that friendly banter that always happens. And, you know, for me, like, I don't think it was until college where I got comfortable with things. So I'm okay with it. So, like, when I get people who come on TikTok and they start attacking me for the ethnicity, I'm like, be original at least. like if you're gonna be 5 about it, then be a 5-year-old. If you're a grown-ass man using the same 5-year-old, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, get creative. No. I do apologize, guys. I went off on a big tangent. So for those of you that stuck through, I hope that answers some of your guys' questions. I hope that gives you guys a broader picture, probably more information than you wanted. But, you know, that's kind of the situation. And long story short, be proactive, not reactive. And if you're in a situation where you have to be reactive, then so be it. Don't get angry. Focus any unnecessary energy in helping fixing your situation. Okay, you can't change the laws. You can't change the government. Okay, focus on what you can focus on. And just do that. I don't know yet, Maxzilla. I just put in the order request, so I don't know what our final pricing is going to be. So I'll let you know. And I've been wanting to process... Oh, my goodness. Sorry, that just ended up talking like that was just... I just ended up just talking. My bad, guys. How's everyone else doing tonight? If I can just pivot the conversation. Remember, guys, we are taking pre-orders in the Gundam card game, and we have a handful of the Final Fantasy play boosters left. Last thing on the Gundam card game, reminder that we are selling it at $139.99, which is technically $20 above what the original MSRP pricing would have been. We are still waiting to hear about what the final prices are actually going to be because of the tariffs and everything. So what I did was, if it ends up being more than $140, then you guys save money. Like, I'm still going to process it and everything. I'm not going to pull the whole scam of like, all right, I'm going to refund your guys' orders and sell for a higher amount because it end up being more expensive. That's my gamble for putting it up this early. But if it ends up being the cost that was advertised to us, I will refund your guys' shipping. And depending on what the shipping cost was, I'll send you 1 or 2 extra packs on top of your order, which I will process live. I'm actually in the middle of redoing my entire basement, my home setup, so I can actually fulfill all the online TCG orders because I can handle that. So I will be doing that, so you guys will see all of that. So if you're willing to take a chance on us, I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. I'm adding new things on a daily basis. Long story short, Shopify gave me problems last month, forced me to delete over 2,000 items that I had to add one at a time. And now I need to add everything one at a time in my very limited schedule. So every day I'm doing minor updates, 1 or 2 new items. I'm just daily putting up new things. Especially the Pokemon stuff. I'm just like experimental. I'm just putting up a couple slabs here and there just to try it. So there's that. Lost Moonbear, I appreciate it. Lost Moonbear, you actually put a highlighted comment earlier that I did not read. I apologize. Let me scroll back up to see if I can find it. There you go. You have come a long way. You're going to be amazing adventures as whatever future holds. Beautiful journey. Thank you for making bad days. For the bad days, it is the best days ever. Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah. It's a positive message. No, I appreciate that, guys. No, chat, and my longtime chat followers, let me know. I've gotten pretty good with talking about all that now. Like, I've come to terms with it. If anything, does it sound different? Because I know I've said the things I've just said several times throughout this past year and a half, but I feel like my tone has changed because, like, I just come to accept it. It's a part of my life now. But also moving on. right? By the way, for those of you guys just joined that didn't know already, a couple things. Obviously, we're doing pre-orders. My daughter was born a few weeks ago, so I'm now officially a new girl dad. I have 2 boys. My 3rd child was born. Great timing for it, right? But also, we did name her Aerith after the Final Fantasy VII character. We are getting more serious about cards. We've been serious about Magic the Gathering, which has been at the store. My Magic guy's been working on that for several years. We've been doing Magic for 10 years. Pokemon's more recent. I should have started 5 years ago like everybody else, but you know what? Better late than never. I can use all the excuses all I want. Oh, you'll never compete with those big people. They have 1 card that's worth more than your entire case. That's great. That's good for them. We're going to focus on us. And I'm pretty proud of myself. In the last 4.5 months, a couple $100 to over 16,000 in card value. With hopefully with each and every show and then I have a separate team that takes care of the store. I have a separate team that takes care of the conventions, which leaves me, number one, I'm staying home and local so that my wife, with a newborn at home with 2 boys, just to help her transition into balancing those 3. I promised I wouldn't travel like I did in the previous years. But thankfully, these card shows, these trade shows, are usually only 1-day shows. And so at most, I promised my wife I'd be driving 3 hours maximum. But even at that, I leave early in the morning and I'm back by dinner time. Like, it's fine for her. Like, I'm not gone for multiple days like I would for a Comic-Con or a week. Also, these shows too, I've been, knock on wood, each show has been positive. We made profit. So I'll put it this way. Like, my business partner brought it, I was like, what were the cost of goods sold? Like, I'm like, all right, I just downloaded the app to figure that out. But let's just say this. We made $950 in cash, but our inventory grew by $1,200. And he was just like, so he's like, wait, we have $1,200 more in our inventory value, and we also made $950 on top of it. I was like, yeah. He's like, what was our cost? I was like, $400. Oh. So technically we profited $1,700 when you cut it all. I'm like, yeah, for half a day's worth of work. It's like, or technically a full day because of my travel, but it's like, oh, well, okay then, you know? The first show was a big one. It was like $1,500. Our first show that we ever did, we went in with like, I think it was like $3,000 worth of inventory at the time. But we ended up getting, it was like $1,500 in sales, and our inventory grew by like a couple thousand. So like the inventory almost doubled itself essentially. The second show was slower, and this show was more busier, but less busy than the first one. But I have a show booked every weekend, which I have to edit the video. So hopefully tomorrow I can edit the video. I actually recorded that entire last weekend. So I've maybe 3 or 4 reputable trades, and then 1 coin flip that I lost that I'll be posting. But hopefully we have 2 months until Collecticon. Number one, hopefully I can get a Collecticon booth because it's going to be highly competitive. But on top of that, if we can build up a substantial inventory by Collecticon, from what people have told me, like that's the show to build up towards. I was like, all right. So, yeah. Pulse Obsidian. Oh, you're very welcome for sharing that. I appreciate it, guys. Okami Soul, you have a good night. This should be. There we go. I was like, why didn't this process? Oh, hold on. Where's my scale? Now. I don't have a weight scale to weigh this. Wait, that's a lie. No, I do. Hold on. I gotta finish packing the first order. I was actually sorry. I'm gonna have to guesstimate the weight, but it's less than a pound. So I'll just say it's a pound. I was actually hoping my wife would come down with my daughter so you guys can see her before. So I was gonna be. It's about 11 o'clock. Oh my gosh, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Okay then. So you see, I lose track of like. So you know what? You know what's funny? A year and a half ago, I was like, man, am I gonna be able to stream, especially by myself? Am I gonna be able to like talk for that long? And I come to find out that I actually don't shut up sometimes when I talk about a topic. I'm like, oh no, I can do it. I can do it. It's kind of a jab against myself, but it's all good. Thick envelope. Wait, what? Okay then. Oh, it's in Colorado. That's why this shipping's so expensive. Okami Soul, I know you left, but... Oh, did we get a couple more pre-orders? Oh, we also officially broke the 3,000 mark. Let's go. Let's go, guys. We're at order 303 now. Bam. And, oh, we had 2 people order... I have an order for Alex, 2 boxes. Let's go. And I have an order for... Charles, let's go. Both first time oh, California, god damn it. you West Coast people. You are the most expensive people to ship to. Actually, no, Hawaii takes the cake. But damn you West Coast people. I love you. I'm still gonna ship it to you. I'll eat the cost. But damn. If you are in anywhere between the Midwest to East Coast, so person order 2 boxes, $16 will about cover the shipping cost for that range. West Coast is almost 50% to double the cost. And the thing is, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to shipping rates are gonna go off the, oh my goodness. I gotta stop thinking about everything. I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna get like even more depressed. But it's all good. I'm actually still pricing out the cards. So I just picked up a collection today. It's worth about $1,500. Sorry. So the collection I bought today, if they were all near mint, would have been worth over $9,000 to $10,000. But this person or child, he just graduated high school, so he's a man now. This man collected cards since he was in elementary school. He traded his collection in. He played with all of his cards. So $9,000 to $10,000 ended up becoming worth about $1,100, but damaged. So it was anywhere between $600 to $1,000. I still took them because some cards were between moderately played, like heavy played to moderately played. Those cards I should be able to sell. And I got a shit ton of damaged cards that it's a coin flip. What's going to happen with those? So we will see. That marks 2,000 plus orders. That's correct, Danny Phantom. That is now over 2,000 orders on the website, which is freaking amazing. So what did you have to say to? Oh no, Okami, everything's processed. You should have the shipping, the labels here. You should have the tracking information to you now. Or soon. You should have it soon now. Oh no, and Okami, you were order 3001. So you're technically our first order into our, so we've done 2,000 orders since we first started. Technically, you are our 2,000th order because the first one was a test one by me. So that was awesome, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to get everyone here is going to be entered into our spring chest giveaway. Keep in mind too, if you guys didn't look in the giveaway section of our website, everyone gets a free entry during the middle and ends of the stream. And if something big happens, I usually give multiple entries. But every purchase you guys do on our website also gets you additional entries. So every dollar you spend on the website gets you one entry into that giveaway. Speaking of which, all pre-orders, all card singles, and investments and lifetime memberships, aka everything I have on the website right now, is double entries. So I extended the giveaway that I was supposed to do back in April this month to mid-June because a lot of delays happened. I wasn't able to get certain products, but I also needed time to organize everything. But this also too, we didn't hit certain financial goals that we had hoped because it was a rough winter. So the way I look at it is, give it another month and a half. Let's hit our goals. Let's get to the end of spring, which is beginning of mid-June, which is now it's properly timed. So the spring chest giveaway comes at the end of spring, and it's to celebrate it, and we will have a massive giveaway. What's nice about that is too, whether you have one entry or 10,000, it doesn't matter. You can only be picked once, and you can only win one item. I do one item per person so that we can have as many unique winners as possible. But the advantage of being first is you first come, first serve on the prizes. You get to pick what you like. And it goes down all the way. Now, I've also had people with less than 10 picks beat the people who had over 1,000 picks. I also had people who had over 1,000 picks. I did like 60 drawings and they were never picked once because I use a complete randomizer. So people can vouch for on the Twitch side of things, just letting you know. But let me go ahead and add the giveaway entry. So before I add all the orders, it's 45,855 entries so far. I haven't added the orders yet, but I will be getting around to that eventually. Sorry, I'm just closing out some windows I don't need open. Alrighty. And now... All right. Well, Lady is currently streaming.
That A better.
So Lloyd's Fault Guys. Currently, Lady is streaming, playing.
Okay. That's the one I sometimes get. So that's cool that I got it the first try this time.
Expedition 33. Interesting. So we're going to head and raid Lady right now. We'll be back tomorrow night, guys. Actually, no, tomorrow I may end up live streaming from the store because I'm setting up the cards at the store because it's Pokemon night. So we can see about doing that. So I'll let you guys know. So what, like, pretty much I'll stream tomorrow night and I'm either going to be at the shop, IRL, or I'm going to be here. So we're going to do that. I got to show the Thursday players all the cards that we got. So we're going to do that. All right, guys. With that said, you guys all have a wonderful night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, guys.
Before impact, they don't have visual or audio cues.